Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to another live stream with me, 320 Sim Pilot. Today we are back in X-Plane 11 in the fantastic ToLiss A321 NEO, of course, as you can see today, where we're going to take it for a flight in our Manta Livery over to Innsbruck. Quite a short flight today, unusual for us, but the plane isn't ready, I can promise you that. So we'll spend a bit of time getting ready and then we'll head over to Innsbruck, where the weather looks quite challenging and the approaches aren't exactly time efficient, so it could be a bit of an interesting one. The weather's looking pretty bad actually over in Innsbruck. We haven't done Innsbruck before on the channel. I've been meaning to make a sort of tutorial video on it, although it's been discussed before, and there are a lot of them out there. So yeah, we'll see how it goes today. It's not somewhere I go regularly, so it's going to be an interesting one, and we'll talk a little bit on the way about some of the restrictions and so on in place for those of the pilots who do travel there. Good to see you all. Thank you for coming along. Thanks so much for taking the time to be here. Chickpoint, good to see you. Sounds like you got away from work early. I hope it lives up to it. Thanks for coming along. Matt Olsen as well, thanks for coming. Aerodynamic Simulations, hope you're all doing very well. Matteo, thanks for coming and moderating. Mark, Azal, Noga, very kind of you guys. I hope you're all having a good evening, day, morning, afternoon, wherever you are. G90, good to see you as well. You're very welcome for the other stream. Yeah, we've had a few streams this week, but as you know, things are pretty quiet at the moment, so it's good to take the opportunity to get to do some flying through this. I hope you're all doing well. Richard V as well, hope you're all doing well. Thanks for coming along. Aaron, Madine, Steve, Mr. Hollywood, wow, those of you who've come along, thank you so much. Very kind of you guys. There is a typo in that thumbnail. You're absolutely right, Johannes. Yeah, there is indeed. Sean, hope you're doing well. Aviator as well. Example was taken. There's some very philosophical usernames that come through. Yosef, hope you're doing well. Yosef Mitzel, good to see you. Lizzo5, thanks for coming. Turtle Kayak as well. Yella, Amanda Veen, I hope you're doing well. Fly Guy, it's great to have you guys all here. Kai, good to see you as well. Right, I do apologise. I'm sure there's names I've missed here. But I hope you're all doing very well. Ollie, good to see you as well. And yeah, let's get ourselves underway. So we're here at Terminal 3. If any of you are flying along, of course, you'll be able to see on the stream roughly what we're doing. Oh, there's a Ryanair over there. Now, that is a bit unusual. Let me know, and as ever, about the audio levels. I hope they work out all right today. The microphone is slightly turned up since previous streams, so fingers crossed it's all right. We're currently just loading up in Terminal 3, 327. We were about here when we set off on our long-haul 11-hour stream. Not so long ago, really. 1st of January, actually, I think it was. So, yeah, it's been quite a journey since then. We're now pushing on. We've gone through 35,000 subscribers, which is amazing. So, yeah, we'll see how the rest of the year pans out. But yeah, it's been an amazing journey, and we've been very lucky since that long haul on the channel. So let's jump into the flight deck. The other thing I want to use today for is a chance to test out the old Thrustmaster TCA side stick and throttle quadrant. So let's have a look, see how it performs. I've got to say it was much easier to set up in the ToLiss than the A320NX mod, just because the mod is obviously constantly in a lot of development, whereas this is pretty stable. But here we go then, powering up the screens. I've got it set to daylight, although we'll be using the real weather, and as I said, pretty nasty weather when we get down the other end. I think we also do have some controllers up and running in VATSIM for Heathrow. I don't know about Innsbruck. We'll see when we get down there. Leaf, thanks for coming along. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. So let us think about getting ready. Yeah, so this is pretty much cold and dark. It's just sitting on the external power. And this is how ToLiss loaded it up. So we will check engine mode selects off, norm, weather radar is all off, landing gear lever is down, but it is already powered on anyway. Wiper selectors are off, batteries are already on. That's interesting. So it does load them with them on. Anyway, the voltages are good even when they're turned off. External power on. Let's just get that APU up and running. Get it nice and warm in here. No point messing around. Getting our passengers on and on the way. Victor Tango, hope you're doing well. If I didn't say hello already, thanks for coming along and moderating. Kai is having trouble with the joystick. Oh dear. Evening Miles, Eric. There seems to be a bit of a lag. Enrico Bianchi, good to see you again. Thanks for coming along. Thanks very much. Husker66, good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. And Ralph. Right. Let us carry on. So, APU press that starter, get that up and running. Right, let's get into our flows. That should all, yeah, that would have been left off overnight. Right, fair enough. Okay, let's get these up and running. Now, I've been told that this is an old requirement where you had to wait for that on backlight to go out, but still. Nice detailing on these ADIS controls that I haven't noticed before. I don't know if this is from one of the more recent updates. I know the ToLiss has had a few over the past few weeks. Take the nav lights on, strobe lights to auto, just in case we need those later. Or I say just in case we need them, just in case we forget them. See, no smoking signs to auto, emergency lights to arm now, and we are fueled up at 8.8, so passenger signs can just go straight on. Why not? Put pack flow to normal these days, and that panel is all looking good. So is the electrical panel. Fuel pumps left on. Engine fire tests. We would also look down on the ECAM, obviously, but a little bit hard to do with this setup. But there we go. And over here we have quite a fancy Airbus with a cargo heating section. But yeah, we're not going to use that. Good stuff. Right, coming down here then. The IS is on. Anti-skid nozzle steering is on. All of this we're going to set up very shortly, but I will have constraints on both sides, more than likely. Did I say Frankfurt? Oh no, we're going to, we're starting at Heathrow. Yeah. Apologies if I said Frankfurt. Yeah, weather does look bad, Aaron, agreed. It does look really bad. Mash is off to do a workout. Got a workout done before the stream this time. Excellent. Mash last time was rushing through the workout to get it done before we get going. Right. What have we got as well? Mark Smith says, engine switches on the TCA quadrant this evening. Yes, today we will remember to start the engines properly. I say that now, I'll probably forget later, but that is the plan. We're gonna make the use of it as we have it. Right, that's all looking good. APU's up and running. We'll just set up the timer for that. Okay, right, down here then. I wish we could remove this armrest, but I don't think that is possible. Radar's definitely off. Just set that ready for the departure when we need it. It'll be on weather and turbulence as well, but it's still off, so that's no problem. Transponder. I think in the ToLiss we have to actually put that to above. Oh, you can hear the yellow electric pump whining, and I think you have to set that to on for this one to work properly. There we go. Right. I do have a flight plan filed, which if you guys want is in the it's in the exclamation mark route if you want it in the chat, and the bot will come and give that to you guys if you're planning to fly along. Yeah, so apologies. Okay, sound is good. Excellent. Yeah, right, and again, apologies if there's anyone I miss in the chat, because there's yeah, again, so many people chatting today, but thank you all for coming along. It's really appreciated. I hope you're all doing very well. Is it possible to set wind shear, TCAS events, etc. in this sim? You can't set them, but I have had TCAS events in this sim, so it definitely does happen. And I know that just because I got too close to somebody on a stream once and we got a full TCAS warning, so there you go. It definitely is possible. Oh, there you go. So now that you've heard that high-pitched whine, I don't know if you guys could hear it, but it's the yellow electric pump as they close up the doors, which means our accumulated brake pressure is all looking good. Check that our gravity extension is all stowed as well, of course. Parking braking set, speed brake retracted, flap 0. And we would have naturally checked. Ah, yes, if they've added this now. So hydraulic quantities, we're going to check those. We're going to check for oxygen. We've got enough oxygen on each side. The NEOs get 2 bottles. So like I said, in the old aircraft, you could have 1,000 PSI and it would be enough for both of you. But the NEOs are a luxury. You get loads more oxygen for the pilots. 1,800 each side. Amazing. And we always have to check the engine oil. We do this every sector. Now, strangely enough, this is something that Airbus, since the 1980s, has made us, well, I assume it was a check ever since the start. I can't see when it wouldn't be, the oil quantity. And lo and behold, it's not here because the FADECs aren't powered. And this is exclusive to the NEOs. So what we have to do is go up onto the maintenance panel on the overhead. So right up here, it's a long reach for either pilot to get to. And you've got engine, FADEC, ground, power. So yeah, we're going to have to open this up and press it. I mean, it's a guarded engineering switch. This is a sort of engineering panel mainly used for that reason. But there you go. It does show up on the engine display once you do that. So as soon as you turn it off, it goes away. So we don't leave those on. We have to do this every time we want to check that oil. The trick is to, well, on a start like this, there's nothing you can do. But if you have arrived and you're doing a turnaround, they'll actually stay on the screen for a little bit after engine shutdown. So you can make a note quick enough. But anyway, there we go, 17.5 on each one. all working nicely. Yeah, nice little detail there. Again, strange that that's been added into the NEOs, but not the older aircraft where it's readily available. Good stuff. That should be on. We never turn those off. I don't know if other airlines around the world do, but I've never seen it personally where you turn off the radio panels, because it's just they just turn off when you depower the airplane if you need it to. Great. Yeah, I have a funny feeling my internet is playing up a bit in terms of the chat. So if I'm missing any chat, I apologize. It's either going too fast or quite possible that my browser is just missing the messages. But I see Shadow Slayer says, my first stream, your videos have been extremely helpful in learning how to fly the A320 in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. That's great to hear, Shadow Slayer. Thanks very much for coming along. And yeah, I'm glad those videos have been useful. We're in X-Plane today. I often get asked, why am I in X-Plane? Well, for a start, we have our livery in X-Plane, so we've got to make use of the livery, obviously. But also, this aeroplane, the ToLiss, is a really well-rounded airplane. All of the RNAV works exactly as it should. The go-around features work as they should. It's full of great little details, so it's nice to use and to try out all those different things. And I will be using X-Plane as well as Microsoft Flight Simulator for the foreseeable future, because I have to fly that A340 when it comes out. I am so excited. I really want to fly it by the ToLiss A340. Yeah, really excited about that. Okay, right, what's left to do here then? Well, it's time we get that MCDU up and running. Other pilots out doing the walkarounds. So you would put the APU bleed on as soon as passengers were coming on. You try and avoid it if the other pilots sit outside doing their walk around, but they should have ear protection anyway. And these days you've got to have it on for the passengers anyway before they get on board for ventilation. Yeah, my chat window is not working at all, so I can only apologise to you guys who I've missed, who have come along, because I can see it's moved on a little bit. Enemy plays says hi and bye. We've got Mr. Martin Torres, thanks for coming along. I hope you're doing well. We've got David Gaming. Ripples just landed at Heathrow. Excellent, good to see you here. A few people have just got their TCA side sticks. Excellent news. Oh, and Alexander Pasuto, good to see you. Alexander says, good evening from Johannesburg. Yes, Alexander joined the last stream, then had to disappear to fly to Johannesburg in the 777. It was quite unexpected to get called up at last minute. It's 1937 there. Oh, excellent. Yeah, pretty close on the time zones. Good to see you, Alexander. I hope your flight was easy. I hope you get to come home nice and easily soon, but I'm sure it's quite nice to be down in Johannesburg at this time of year, especially. So Gosh is out of his comfort zone, trying to fly the fly-by-wire mod thanks to your videos. Excellent. Good luck. I hope it goes well. You're going to need the cargo section for the holder, says Eric. Yeah, we will. Yeah, that's true. We'll keep it nice and toasty down there. Does it show up? No, it doesn't actually show us the cargo temperature in this one. It does. Some aircraft have it fitted in there. Anyway, right. I don't know what is going on with my chat. This is very upsetting. Let me just see. If I try that. Ah, that might have worked. Fingers crossed I've got it working again. Lauren V, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. What do you use for ortho? I don't have ortho. I just have ORBX when we get there. Douglas Grant says, hi, I saw you had the Airbus quadrant as well. On mine, the indents go like 196, 88, 66, and the last tiny bit between 66 and 0. Do you know how to fix this as it makes taxiing impossible? Yeah, so if you're talking about Microsoft Flight Simulator, then you'll need to go and use the mod instructions on the GitHub page if you're using the experimental version. If you're using the default 320 or one of the development branches, then it should work pretty normally. If you're talking about the ToLiss is great because you can just configure your TCA using the ISCS screen, and then you can go general. Is it general? No, joystick actions. There you go, and you can just change your detent locations. It's so easy. It's fantastic. But yeah, anyway, right. Let us carry on. Good to see you for everyone else who's joined. Apologies for that. Right. Apologies for that. Right. Let us get on the way. Sorry about that, guys. Just trying to sort something out here. Mash says, got an email alert that the Honeycomb Bravo quadrant was back in stock. By the time I got to the website, all gone. Yeah, those are still very hard to get, those Honeycomb Bravo. Briony Silver, if I'm getting that right now, good to see you. Thanks for coming along again, especially after the way I've been, as you say, butchering your name. The Morgan Thomas Show says, get us a 1/100 diecast of that livery. 1/100, wow, that would be a serious model. Yeah, I don't know. It's something I've certainly been thinking about. So it's really quite, it's not as easy to get sorted as you'd imagine. Put it that way. So if you guys want a model of this, then you'll have to let me know. Maybe put it into the Discord, see if there's any momentum to it. But it's yeah, it could be a little bit tricky, but it could also be possible. But it's obviously, when you make custom models, it's not quite as cheap as you'd hope, or a normal model. Right, my chat is all over the place. I don't know what's going on with the YouTube today, but anyway, right, enough of that. So MCDU time, obviously. So let's load up the screens. Then we know we're getting somewhere. Abby tab, toggle tablet. Great. Right. There we go. Proof, Heathrow to Innsbruck. I promise that's what we're doing. New database cycle just got updated today, so let's hope it works. So there is our data page, and in it, we are going from EGLL to LOWI. We are going to be the IMX 249. Manta 249, to those of you who haven't seen it before. Costanex 5 today, cruising at flight level 370. Alternate of Munich. Seems like a sensible alternate for Innsbruck. Line that IRS. GBS primary, of course, as you would hope. Good, there is init A done. Oh yeah, and the wind. Make sure we get that wind in. What is going on? I'm so sorry, guys. My chat is way behind. So let me try Streamlabs. Let's see if that's doing any better. Russ, good to see you. Hope you get the chance to catch up tomorrow. Yeah, this is a 1440p monitor. I use Rosen 213. Yeah, I use 1440p. Yeah, we're definitely having trouble with the chat. Definitely having trouble. Okay, no worries. Right, there is the wind. So that is the init A, diff flight plan. Let us... Oh, we haven't got the ATIS yet, so I won't choose a departure. Let's go and grab an ATIS. Let's use my magical radio panel. If I can find the frequency. Because we have a full Heathrow, 128075. Excellent. Oh, now how am I going to do 075 on this radio panel? It only goes up to 07. Let's have a look. 075, there it is. Well, that's definitely not working. So I'm going to have to cheat. Double click on that one. Why isn't that working? What have I missed? That's come 128075. That's all good. We always have trouble with audio somewhere along the line. We just can't win. Let's see if it is somewhere in here. Settings. No. Okay. Okay. No worries. Right. Well, I'll just have to let you guys know that Heathrow is using Information Charlie. What have they got? We've got 27 right in use on single runway operations. Transition level 75. Won't affect us for departure. The wind is 2607 with 10 k's or more. Oh, so it's quite a bit nicer than it is over in Innsbruck. With some light rain, scattered 900. No fancy printing on the ToLiss yet, sadly. I don't know if they're going to add that. Broken 1,300 feet. So a cloudy, gloomy sort of London day by the sounds of it. Broken 2,300 feet. Temperature, quite warm, plus 11. Dew point, plus 10. Oh, so a chance of low vis, ever so slightly in there. QNH 1002, Information Charlie. Great stuff. Right, I don't know why that's not audible at all. Unless, yeah, I don't know. Very strange. Very strange. Mateo says, you are doing RNAV 08, not circle to land. Yeah, either the RNAV 08 or maybe at this rate, the RNAV 26, one of those straight ins. I'll have to do a whole separate video for the circling and so on. But it's not something I've seen much of recently. So it's something I definitely want to take a bit of a closer look at. I say YouTubers chats are having problems. Okay, fair enough. Nicholas, this is indeed explain. Indeed. Right, 128070. Is it that simple? Don't know what to do there. Leaf, good to see you. Thanks very much for your message and your very kind donation. If I can find the thing to make it work. Right, I'm having terrible trouble here. This is really bad. I can basically, just for context to you guys, let's see if I can bring it up on another YouTube video. Okay, there we go. I've got it here using another screen. Thank you very much, Leaf, for your 100 sec donation. Really appreciate it. Leaf says, you are as professional on hardware reviews as you are learning us the tricks of the A321. You certainly have all skills. I bet the cute and well-behaved cat plays a larger role than you've told us. Thank you very much, Leaf. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much for your kind words and your support and your 100 sec donation. Very kind of you, Leaf, over in Sweden, of course. Yeah, it's very kind of you to say so. I mean, you're going to see today that perhaps their skills aren't all there. But yeah, it's fun to do a hardware sort of review for once. So you guys let me know what you think of that. And whether you want to see more of that sort of thing. Oh, we've got random frequency up here. Let's do that. Right, so we're going to depart from 27 right. 27 right. And we're going to go by Detling today. Who am I listening to? Let's tune. Not sure why I can hear anyone, to be honest. Oh, we got box 2 open, that's why. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Right, Detling departure. There we go. Insert. So we're going to head off, make a sharp turn around, then head straight over London, out up towards Detling, off to the sort of northeast of London. It's not really a long flight, not long at all. From Detling, we're going to take the airway, the Lima 6 to Dover, Delta Victor Romeo, then Upper Lima 9 to Conan. And after Conan, Upper Lima 607. Yeah, so it should be nice. I mean, we're pretty much going to get into the air. Upper Lima 607 to Coxey, Mike 150. And then once we're up in the air, and thank you for those subscriptions, by the way. I do apologise. The chat's making a complete mess. I see that Streamlabs has finally woken up to subscriptions again. It's not bothered for a long time now. Coxey, Mike 150, and then Pitez. But yeah, basically we're going to have to get up in the cruise and then immediately start setting up for the arrival. But it's not going to be too fancy, I don't think, today. Eric, thank you very much for your 100 knot donation. Really appreciate it. Eric says, I always enjoy your streams, even when you face some technical difficulties, lol. Thank you very much, Eric. Very kind of you, and thank you for your donation. I really appreciate it. Very kind of you. And thanks for coming along for yet another stream. You've been very loyal coming along to all of these. So thank you, guys, and thank you for everyone who's coming along to watch today. Yeah, it's all very kind, and I really enjoy it. Right, so there we go. Pitez, direct to Odessa. But yeah, thank you very much to Leaf, and thank you to Eric for your very kind donations. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Pitez, direct to Odessa, direct to Batub. Because of course, so we're going to Innsbruck. You'd have done a lot more planning for an Innsbruck flight. I can guarantee that the flight crew won't just show up on the morning and then just hope it works out. Which I'm going to confess, just got to go to Airways. It's slightly what I'm doing here. Like I say, I need to do a really serious video about it, but it would take so long to talk through every different option. And I know there are a lot of good tutorials out there, which is not a good excuse, but there we go. So they would have showed up early, you can possibly consider calling up Innsbruck, find out which runway you're going to be on. You're going to have a plan for the fuel, because we're just thinking of arriving today, but you know, most crew would have they'll go in and then they'll depart. So performance for getting out again is going to be pretty critical. So making sure you don't arrive with too much fuel to then leave again, that sort of thing, obviously. Right there is our route, Smack 738 to Madeb, that's us, and then we are going to Innsbruck, and we will set up the arrival. Now, I'm expecting to have to come in on the RMP 26 Zulu just to get in today because the weather is so bad, and then we're going to use the Madeb arrival, Madeb 1 Bravo plan. If you can hear a dog barking in the background, that is not my dog. Via Romeo Tango Tango. Okay, that doesn't really work out too well. Maybe radar vectors, but that's something we'll consider for the future once we're on the way. Right, so that is our data init A flight plan, especially for our departure. That's checked through. We got our SID in there. Let us go to Avitab and check that departure. Yeah, I'm really sorry. I'm totally confused by the different chats, so I may not see your message or answer at all. So this may feel a bit different to the usual streams. I do apologise. I try to interact and answer the questions, but yeah. Oh, there you go. Someone, Dandy, said, "Why do you use upper instead of uniform?" But it's just a force of habit, because I think of them as the upper airways. So you've got Lima 9 and then upper Lima 9, because it would be the higher level one. Hence, I just come up with I just changed the U to upper. Just a sort of a habit I've got, I suppose. I don't know if other people do it or not, to be honest. Yeah, we've got ORBX for Innsbruck, which should be nice. I don't have much ORBX scenery. We do have Scotland, but yeah. Papa H says, "Your hardware review was excellent. As always, I learned a lot." Thank you. Oh, you're very welcome. That's great. Great to hear. Thanks, Eric. Glad you enjoyed it. I didn't see... goodness me, yeah, a lot of answers that I'm missing here. So I'm really sorry, guys. It's really bad. It's completely messed up. Yeah, it does. I thought you might be able to hear that barking. It's not the cat. She's being very quiet. But yeah, right. Okay, here we go. So let's get ourselves over to airports. Parking stands. We are here around the Gulf in Terminal 3, and then we're going to taxi out and 27 right again. So you'll remember that from our Maldives stream. Head out over here, off we go, and then we're going to do a Detling departure. That dog, my goodness, he really knows how to bark. Good, Detling. 2 Foxtrot, round we go, 137, out to Epsom, and then along, stopping at 6,000 feet. Now I do need to get clearance, of course, before we do that. And otherwise, transition altitude 6,000, and that's about it. It's not too exciting. We just need to got quite a tight turn sort of immediately. But other than that, nothing too shocking in there. Good, so that's the flight plan. Diff secondary flight plan. Let's copy that active. Let us set up a return just in case we need it. We haven't got any engine failure procedure here, but let's imagine in case we had a problem on takeoff, let's stop at Detling. So from Detling, if I select it, I can put in new destination. And now you'll see the secondary flight plan runs to Detling, and then it goes to Heathrow as a new destination. And let's put in an RNS. They said single runway in that ATIS, so RNS 27 right. And inserts. And now in the secondary, we have a sort of a return back into Heathrow should we need it. Radnav page. Oh, I don't know why the courses are all tuned in like that. I'll just leave them auto-tuned. But what do we have? We have D2 London. We make our turn, it looks like. Let's just check that. Detling 2 Foxtrot. Straight ahead at 2D London, turn left in set 137. So let's make sure that London doesn't detune itself. Let's put London in there. And after that, we make our left turn 137 to Epsom at or above. So let's put in Epsom as well. EPM. That dog you can hear, what happens is it's dark outside now where I am, so it can hear, it sees foxes around in the gardens, and then it just goes mad. It gets really upset about it, so you'll hear it. You might hear it barking for a little while longer unless they take it inside. Right, let's put the VOR. Let's have one VOR here and the ADF Epsom there. 303. Let's just check that. No, 316. Oh, that's because it's showing. I forget. Over and over again, I forget this. I don't think I've ever flown an Airbus that has two ADF receivers because they're so old now. So in most Airbuses, if you have one ADF receiver, you have ADF1 here and ADF1 here. So you didn't. That's why I continuously get that wrong. So we don't need ADF1 on there. We can have ADF2. There we go. Epsom's tuned. So that terrain on. We are going to need that terrain when we get to the other end. Probably going to need that weather radar as well. Okay, coming together. If we wanted to be really careful to make sure that departure works out, what I can also do is put a fixed info in. So flight plan, select next to top left, fixed info, and then reference fixed is going to be the London VOR, LON, 0 miles away. So that's that one. Oh, where's he gone? London, please. It's not working. How odd. London. Not going to work. No. Oh, well, I was going to put in a 2-mile ring around London VOR, but that's not worth it then. But it's all right. We've got the VOR DME written there. Adam Story, thank you very much for a £10 donation. Really appreciate it. It looks like my chat is finally starting to catch up. But thank you very much, Alan. I hope all is well with you and your family. Thank you very much for coming along. And yeah, again, all our best wishes to you. And I hope you're doing very well. And thank you very much for your donation. Really appreciate it. Adam has been a long-time supporter of the channel, so that's very kind of you. Thanks for coming along. And I hope you're doing well this evening. The Greek Badger says, hello, Captain. Are you flying the 321 NEO? Yes, this is the NEO. And something I want to check, actually, is which version of the NEO. I'm hoping I should have left this as the LEAP. Yep, we're on the LEAP version of the NEO today. There it is. A few others around us. Excellent. Right, get rid of that GPU. This is going to be one of my long starts. This is turning into eBoss. Good to see you. And eBoss says, wasn't it the PTU barking? Yes, it could just be the PTU barking. That is a very good point. Right, so there we go. We've got a plan. Diff secondary radnav init B time. Going to need our performance stuff. So yeah, so I get asked as well, you know, where does this performance information come from? Well, this is this will be given to you by your airline. You'll have a load sheet. So before you can go anywhere, there's lots of paperwork you need. You'll need a fuel receipt so that you know how much fuel was provided onto the airplane. You'll need a load sheet which will tell you the weights of cargo and passengers. You'll also have a NOTOC, which is the piece of paper that tells us what's been put in the hold. Not specifically, but just if there's any dangerous goods, it will show you there. And you're going to have, well, depending on your airline, there are a few other things you'd have to have signed. Tech log will have to be given to the ground crew as well, a page from the tech log, things like that. But there we go. So let us set up our init B page with the 04870 1.4. Not too heavy for a 321 NEO. 048CG 29.1. There it goes. So block fuel, I've got 8.8. I was recommended 6.8. I'm going to put 8.8 in because if we have to go around into Innsbruck, which is there is a chance of that today, the fuel burn is going to be massive, and we'll see why when we get there. But there we go. That says we've got 3 tons extra. We don't actually have that much extra, but if the NEO fuel burn, we probably do, because as ever, that's just a Simbrief figure, which is a little bit old at this point. MS Pilot 737 says Flight Deck Sim also uses upper. I also wondered why uniform are not used. Yeah, there you go. Well, I don't know if air traffic control were telling you which airway to take for any reason, which I've not really had. I don't know if they would say uniform or upper. I don't think it matters too much, but that is funny to hear someone else says that. Matt says, have you updated to the latest version? Now, I thought I had, but it turns out I may have not. Because earlier I could see I still got the issue. I'm on 1.2.1. Yeah. So I'm actually slightly out of date, which I didn't realize. So that's a bit of a shame. So yeah, there's a couple of bugs here that may be not happening if you've actually managed to update. So I do apologize for that. Right. So this command pilot monitoring will be on flight plan. Anyway, we're finishing up our init B. So that is all done. So finally, performance. ISTS, loading perf, flap 1. And the flex stuff does work in the ToLiss, which is great news. So we'll take no shift. Flaps can go to config 1. Now, did I see some people saying that there's a new warning added with the config, suggesting that if we have our trim set wrong, it would show us on here. Now, the real aircraft wouldn't, but I'll be interested to see. So I'm gonna do it like I normally do, and then see what happens. So flex temperature 59. Yeah, massive runway. No need to use a lot of thrust here. 153. 153. 157. Chief Sim Pilot, good to see you. Thanks for coming along. Another part of the Simwings community, and also another YouTube streamer who does, I'm sure, many more aeroplanes than I do. So thanks. Good to see you, Chief Sim Pilot, as well. Lawrence says, where are you flying to? We are going to Innsbruck. Tyler, I'm glad you're excited and enjoying it. Ibrahim, good to see you. Says Mad Love from Kenya. Very kind. Thank you very much. I hope you're doing well in Kenya. Good to see you. Thanks for coming along to the stream. Stephen White says, can I ask, when do you put the VOR in? When do you put the course? So actually, if you watch the end of my last stream, we did Corfu, and we had to put in the course. I don't need the course today because I'm just going to fly straight ahead off the runway and then turn. But you'd put the course in if you were tracking a specific radial specifically. Specifically. So I'm using it for a distance reference. I need to know 2 DME from the London VOR. But it's quite rare in the Airbus. The only realistic time you'll find the pilots manually tuning VORs and the course is probably when they're flying an approach that uses a VOR on a specific course. That's most likely. Anyway, there we go. Performance page loaded up. Clean speed 232, quite fast. Thrust reduction acceleration at 1900. Now we always do 1900, but let's do 1100. Let's put it to 1000 feet just for a change today. Engine out acceleration can be 1100 as well, because that's quite common. A lot of airlines use 1000 feet, not necessarily 1500. Good. So that is the MCDU pretty much loaded up and ready to go. Let's get rid of that. Let us check. External power is green and available, so that means we're not using it, confusingly, but there we go. So we can turn that off without electrocuting anyone. Doors are all in auto. I think they've all closed up already. Yes, they have. So goodbye, ground machinery. Let's check for sensibleness. So PFD is working. Right, we haven't put the QNH in. That's what we really should have done immediately. When you get that ATIS, set that QNH. 1002, 1002, 1002 is all in. Looking good. If we can see all our stuff driving off. No. Right. Just going to check my thrust levers are all working. Side six working. Great stuff. Great stuff. Let me move that radio panel slightly out of the way. Okay. Connor says, hi, I'm flying the 320 NEO. Excellent. Enjoy. G90 says, fix info not working on the ground was a fix in the latest update. Yeah, that's a shame. I'm really sorry, guys. I tried to keep up to date with it, but for some reason I've failed. Failed on this one. So we shall see. Goodness knows how behind I am on the chat at this point. George Trouble says that with the newest ToLiss, there's no more crashes anymore in X-Plane. Oh dear. Let's hope this works. Let's hope this works. And here we go. Here's Lizzo5 says, if you put the wrong THS on the perf page, it will flag on the ECAM memo during taxi. Yeah. But so that's what that does do in the latest Neos. Having the wrong trim in here, does that mean we definitely need to have it added? I didn't think it did, and I still believe that. But I think if you do enter it, it will check for you. Yeah. But there we go. Let's go and see what happens. So I think that's all done. Time to run a checklist. You guys, it's going to be an interesting one today, because you guys are going to be sitting there probably screaming at the top of your lungs about something you've seen me miss or do totally wrong. And I won't have a clue because I'll probably get the message about 10 minutes later. Anyway, before start checklist, cockpit prep is complete for both of us. Gear pins and covers are removed. Signs are on and auto. ADs are all in nav. Although that's not really a good way to check, I suppose. If you really want to check ADAS or nav, data position monitor would be a better place, or even data IRS monitor. Nav. Fuel quantity, we have our 8.7 and it is balanced 4.4 in each tank. All looking great. Takeoff data is set. There it is. And BARF 1002 set. Right, we'll do the rest of that checklist below the line once we've spoken to our traffic control. I've made the classic mistake here of relying on the departure being the same as what we planned. So let's find out how wrong I am. Looks like we've got Gatwick ground 1217. Yep. See if I can make this one work. Don't know what happened to the ATIS, but I have had a few times recently where VATSIM hasn't played out the ATIS even though the controllers think it's there. So there we go.
Speedbird 81 taxi, Bravo, hold Titan. Bravo, holding short of Titan for Speedbird 81 heavy.
And I have got a new transmitter sound.
Readability fine. Shear Alpha November, thank you. Can see you now. Delay probably about 3 minutes. Just need to get a few outbound aircraft on leave and I'll call you back.
Just checking that stand. Always embarrassing not to know that.
Manta 179, how long till you taxi?
Manta 179, ready for taxi.
Manta 179, taxi Lima, second right Alpha, hold Pluto when you can.
Ah, there's a Manta.
Taxi via Lima, second right Alpha, hold Pluto, Manta 179.
Excellent.
Speedbird 2690. Speedbird 2690, go ahead. Speedbird 2690, you're waiting for an outbound 321 to dash behind. Once he's clear, push approve, face south.
Where's the Manta? Maybe at the other end. There it is, IMX 179, excellent.
Passed behind,
Excellent.
push back facing, was that north or south? Speedbird 2690. Yeah, I'm confusing myself, face north. Face north, Speedbird 2690.
Heathrow ground, good evening, Manta 249, stand 327, A321 NEO with information Charlie QNH 1002, request clearance Innsbruck.
Manta 249, your number one, I'll call you back.
Excellent, right.
Manta 14 Mike Juliet.
Manta 14 Mike Juliet.
Ground to call. How long to you taxi?
Driving up. 30 seconds, Manta 14 Mike Juliet.
Thank you.
Ah, we've got 149 Juliet as well, fantastic.
Speedbird 01. Hello. Sierra. Victor 421.
Stephen Barker was trying to do the Corfu flight. As I touched down, after 2 hours, Microsoft crashed the desktop. I was heartbroken. Yeah, I would be, after all that work to get to Corfu.
Just a call sign again. Kamali 93. Kamali 93, no flight plan. Heathrow ground, good evening. Meridiana 358, radio check. Last station for radio check, readability 5. Heathrow ground, good evening. Meridiana 358, stand 330, MD80 with information Delta QNH 10.
I know who that is.
Clearance to Innsbruck. I will call you back. Manta 14 Mike Juliet, was that you for taxi?
That must be Matteo in his trusty MD80.
Manta 14 Mike Juliet, second right Alpha, hold Pluto.
There you go, Andy says there are 2 Mantas and Alpaca flying along. Excellent. I must install that Alpaca CSL pack so we can see them properly.
Okay, hang on, let me just wait till pilots read that before we cut it, please. So, Manta 14 Mike Juliet, second right Alpha, hold Pluto. Right, Alpha,
I'm using X-Pilots for my VATSIM.
Sierra Alpha November, you're waiting for 2 outbound 321. Second 321, you'll push and start it.
Scandera says, hey all, I'm glad I'm watching this stream from home rather than a broken CRJ 200 like the last stream. Yeah, thanks for coming along again. Glad you got home safely.
Okay. 993, request for Charles call. Shoot it. Come on, 93, stand by, I will call you back. You're number 2. Right now, 118, yeah, that's fine. Taxi stand 595.
It's busy.
Taxi stand 595.
It's Heathrow after all.
And was it Manta 249 I told for the clearance?
Yes please, Manta 249.
Manta 249 Delta is the information. QNH 1001, you are cleared Innsbruck, Detling 2 Foxtrot departure, your squawk 7610.
Thank you, QNH1001, cleared Innsbruck, Detling 2 Foxtrot, Squawk 7610, Manta 249.
Manta 249, that is all correct. Report ready, brakes. Manta 14 Mike Juliet.
He's not giving me the chance. Anyway, that is our Detling 2 Foxtrot. 6,000 feet. Now, it's not letting me change the squawk on my Fancy Pants radio panel that I got, so I'm going to have to do it properly. 7 6 1 0.
118.5, Manta 179, bye-bye.
Cheers, thank you. Shuttle 95, sorry, what's your problem?
Does your ground radar show an aircraft that's stopped in front of us on Alpha facing us?
That's a negative, I think that's AI. That's clear all the way to Titan.
Okay, we'll disregard that traffic and we'll continue on.
Speed with 8. Okay, to 1, I think I heard both of you. Version 25 Bravo, push and shuttle breeze, base north. Wilco, base north, version 25 Bravo. Speed 828, push.
Let the record show that for once it's not my fault that we're pushing late.
Base north, speed 828. Speed 81, hold short of Echo.
He's doing a great job with a lot of traffic for just one controller.
Victor Papa Kilo.
I mean, look at the amount of airplanes we've got here. I know they're spread out, but
Kilo Papa, requesting taxi runway 27 right.
there's that Ryanair.
93 Kilo Papa, right turn, Bravo.
So there's no point us jumping on because, you know, there's so many planes around us. We'll try now.
Victor Papa, Charlie Alpha Lima off the runway.
We are off the runway, waiting for taxi clearance.
Victor Papa, Charlie Alpha Lima, be giving way to an outbound, the opposite Ryanair 737 in front of you. Finishing a taxi Echo, stand 5.
Lawrence Trant's made it home too. Excellent. MD-80 is definitely Mateo. Yes, of course it is.
Stupid 81, you'll be giving way to a 777 from the left-hand side, vacating the runway now. Ready for the traffic, speed ready,
Manta 249, request push start, stand 327.
Manta 249, push and start approved.
Push start approved, Manta 249. Hooray. Excellent. Right. Thrust levers are at idle. Windows are all closed. Let's get that beacon on. Let's get the transponder to transponder. And let's do the checklist. Windows, doors closed. Beacon is on. Mobile phone's off. Thrust levers are idle. Parking brake is set. Now, every time I do this, I get this wrong. So let's... Oh, there we go. I don't remember entering that, but that looks right. Yes, please. Off we go.
Alpaca 22 Golf taxi, first right turn, Foxtrot, hold short, Foxtrot.
I don't know what you mean, Infinite 224. I don't know what you mean. Right, let's do a single engine taxi today. I should have said that. It's busy out there. He's giving out a few delays, so we're going to just start engine number 1. So, most select ignition. We've got pressure. Start up engine 1. Start the clock. Off we go.
Ready for taxi, speedbird 26090.
I do like the ToLiss NEO add-on. I think they've done a really nice job with it. It's always nice to be back in the ToLiss. It's a really nice, just a really nice experience to use.
Alpha, hold at Pluto, speedbird 2690. Heathrow ground, Scandinavian 762. Scandinavian 762. Scandinavian 762, stand 335, requesting IFR clearance to Gothenburg.
No, Mateo's not going to get clearance now. It took me a while to get mine, to be fair.
Camille 9, is it Camille 93? Kamali 93? A5, Kamali 93. Kamali 93, clearance Paris, Maxit 1 Foxtrot departure, squawk 6330. Maximum Foxtrot departure, squawk 6330, Kamali 93. Read back correct.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, you guys are completely right. I told you. Let's see if we can manage it for the... We'll manage it to turn it off, and we'll manage it for engine 2 while we're taxiing out. How about that? How about that? That's ridiculous. It's funny, isn't it? You spend... It shows you what... You think you really enjoy these things, then you totally forget about them. Probably, even if I got the parking brake and flap add-on, I'd totally forget about it. Anyway, that was a good engine start. So, watch. Let's go back to norm. We're going to turn off the APU bleed, but we're going to leave the APU on. I'm going to run the yellow electric pump to power the second hydraulic system, which, as we can see now, is running. You can actually hear that high-pitched whine. You can't hear it on the flight deck in the real aircraft, but I don't have the sound fading enabled, just so we can actually get to hear it on the videos, because they're quite nice effects. Anyway, parking brake is set, so they're going to lower the nose. Now, the reason we have to run that yellow pump, as I said, is to get that yellow system pressurized. And now we're going to put out flaps to 1 for takeoff. If you forget to turn on the yellow pump and you try and put out the flaps, the airplane will complain. It will try, and then eventually you'll get a hydraulic or a flap warning. It's not the end of the world in real life. It will recover, or do it slowly. But there we go. We also, off they go. Need to do that. 0, flaps are at 1. Good stuff. And let's just set that CG 29.9. 29.9. So obviously basically 30. So a little bit to move there.
Hold Pluto, like the Disney dog or the planet Pluto.
Pluto, yeah. There goes our ground crew. I like that, like the Disney dog. It's Pluto dog. Is that definitely right? So as he says, how do you find the Airbus Thrustmaster throttle and joystick? I have a video on it to show you my sort of first impressions after using it a little bit. But yeah, I like it. It has a bit more travel than I expected, which is something I didn't realise I missed before. Chris Patton says, glad to see you in the Neo. There's our wave. Chris Patton says, it has become my favourite plane. Great systems modelling. Yeah, it is very good. Right, there's the wave. Back into the flight deck. Let us run our Offstar checklists. Yeah. Offstar checklist. Anti-ice is off. ECAM status is checked. You are expecting to have a few ECAM issues here. Pack 2. And the rear aircraft would also highlight the fact that it's not going to be Cat 3 capable on one engine. But there we go. Pitch trim is set. Rudder trim is at 0. All good. Let's get ourselves taxiing out. And we will start the second engine using the switches. I must remember that.
Scandinavian 762, go ahead. Scandinavian 762, clearances to Gothenburg. It's a Brockman's Park 7 Foxtrot departure, squawk 2575.
Domingo Da Vinci, good to see you. Thanks for coming along.
Clear to Gothenburg, squawking 2575, and could you please repeat the departure? Scandinavian 762. Scandinavian 762, Brockman's Park 7 Foxtrot, Bravo Papa Kilo 7 Fox. Bravo Papa Kilo 7 Fox, thank you. Scandinavian 762. Readback is correct, report ready. Break version 25 Bravo, giving way to the British Airways 777 from the left, taxi Bravo.
Ah, Matteo, sad to hear it. But yeah, fair enough. This is busy. Manta 249, request taxi.
Manta 249, taxi first right turn, Foxtrot, hold Foxtrot 2.
First right, Foxtrot, hold Foxtrot 2, Manta 249.
Speedbird 409 uniform.
Let's not get this wrong.
Sorry,
Golf, right, Foxtrot 2 is just there. Perfect.
001.
Nose lights on.
Speedbird 409 uniform, clearance Gibraltar.
Parking brake off.
Foxtrot departure, your squawk 02.
Away we go.
Gibraltar, go to Foxtrot 0274, Speedbird 409 uniform. Speedbird 409 uniform, readback is correct. Sorry, just said the last bit. Ready for push and stop.
There you go. It's moving forward even on idle thrust for single engine, which is, yeah, believable. It probably needs a bit of a rev up in real life to get going, especially on the Neos. The Neos idle slightly lower. Alexander Pasuto says, with Airbus, correct me if I'm wrong, you say on takeoff, e.g. man flex 56 SRS runway if runway is ILS equipped, or the thrust blue. On Boeing, we just say thrust set and then 80 knots when reached. Yeah, no, you got it right, Alexander. That's pretty much what you say. Hayden J. Robbins says, memberships. Donuts, memberships, donuts. Yeah, memberships are... I was thinking about them earlier today, still trying to work out what would you guys like from a membership pack if we were to have memberships on the YouTube channel. And I'm going to miss it, even if you tell me, because the chat's so far behind, so I do apologise, but I'll try and rewatch the chat and see if I can find it. Bit of rain. I don't think the live rain has been updated, so we do have to use the default X-plane rain.
Delta 934. Your flight plan seems to be the other way around. I think you just need to change the routing.
So,
I will take a look.
quite fun taxiing right by the tower in Heathrow.
At Foxtrot 2, right turn at Alpha at link 13. Join Alpha, hold at Pluto.
Right turn. So Foxtrot 2, right turn onto. Sorry, can you say again the right turn?
Right turn onto Bravo first right turn Bravo at link 13. Join Alpha, hold at Pluto.
Thank you. Foxtrot 2, right turn onto Bravo, then take link 13 onto Alpha to hold Pluto. Manta 249. There we go. I was a bit confused there. I thought I wrote down Alpha, and I was thinking, well, I'm already on Alpha if he says that. Let's get this right. So here we go. Off we go. Yeah, sorry, Matteo. This is a bit late. Matteo has evenings dedicated elsewhere, which is a very good idea. But I had to be a little bit later today for the stream. This isn't very good taxiing, is it?
Parking bay 605. World Express 208 Heathrow. Hello, pass your message.
Thanks, Hayden. Yeah, Discord is probably the best place I should ask for that sort of thing. That is a good point. This is Payware EGLL scenery for X-Plane. It is actually, yes. Yes, it is. Yeah, we're doing single engine. Yeah. So when do we want to start it? Well, I'm going to have to give it a bit of a rev now to get around here. We'll just turn right here and then we'll start it. I've got to turn on link 13. Let's not miss that. Link 13 is down by the end of this terminal. I think that's an old terminal now. Terminal 1, yeah. I don't think Terminal 1 exists, or is certainly not used. Victor Tango says, how about a free flight on the A321 with you as a pilot? That sounds like a very nice membership perk. Well, if I set the membership price high enough, we could go and buy a 321 and I could start up an airline where we just fly you guys around. But the pricing structure might be slightly unrealistic for that. But it would be nice, yeah. It would be nice. Yeah, this is Payware scenery, and I think it's very nice actually. This is one of those airports, you know, there's a lot of scenery out there, and for Payware, this one is, I think, pretty good value, just given how big, obviously, how big Heathrow is. Oh, I don't think I have the nozzle steering disconnect assigned in my new joystick, actually. That is a good point. I also had to change the sensitivity settings ever so slightly in X-Plane to make it feel about right. It was by default set to a bit of a curve, but I've got rid of that. Vladislav says, is it cozy in a real cockpit? Yeah, you bet. When it's like this, raining, cold outside, there's quite a few airplanes up there actually, a bit of a queue. And if you see long-haul aircraft like that, I would imagine we're going to have a bit of a wait behind them. Although, by the time we get there, they'll probably be gone. But yeah, it is cozy. You know, whatever the weather outside, it can be pitch black, raining. It could be 2 degrees and sleeting. We'll be sat here probably in short sleeve shirts. You can get a hot drink when you need it, especially on the turnaround. Obviously, maybe not taxiing out, but yeah, it's a really surreal environment at the flight deck. And you can go from this, and it'll be exactly the same in the flight deck, and then you'll burst out of the clouds. A few hours later, you might be approaching Corfu, and it's 30 degrees. And you're still sat there wearing exactly, you're wearing your same shirt and you're in the same temperature. It's a really surreal job like that. You get transported in this cube of sort of, it's like a sterile environment because nothing changes in the flight deck. And then you suddenly open the door and everything's changed out, the world around you. Again, that great book called Guy Faring talks about it, called it Place, I think he said Place Lag, something like that. And that's talking about long haul, but even on short haul, you do get a bit of that. Right, let's start up that engine. So I'm going to turn off that yellow electric pump. I'm going to turn on the APU bleed, get pressure back at that starter. Okay, we're looking for link 13, that's link 11, so we've got a bit of a way to go. I'm going to use the panel, there we go. Put that across, let's check we get pressure, we do. Hear that PTU running. Let's put that master on.
934 is still got hoist as the initial one.
Start the timer. Link 12.
If you reconnect as Delta 933, then disconnect and then reconnect as 934. That usually works out. What seems to be wrong with hoist? That's not I think that's in America, that hoist.
Alexander Pasuto says, what do you think about me starting a YouTube channel dedicated to the 777, explaining how everything works and using the sim from your experience? People enjoy me doing it. You'll have to ask the people. Yeah, they're here. The question will be, which 777 do you use? PMDG have a good 777 in, is it in P3D, is it? Is it still out? I don't know. Not many 777s out there. Okay, engine started. Avail, good news. Restart the timer so we get the warm-up time. Yep, next left, right, Alpha to hold Pluto, Manta 249. Okay, that's nice of him just to confirm with us. Make sure we don't get it wrong, because lots of things going on. Right, we'll do the left, right, then we'll finish up that engine start. But anyway, all we did there was obviously we just did a normal engine start. We could get rid of that APU bleed once the engine's up and running, and then we'll get rid of the APU shortly. And round we go to the right. I did like the other librarian effect that's sadly gone now. And we're going to stop at Pluto. Kim, thank you very much for your 100 NOK donation. Very kind. Kim says, have a great flight. Greetings from North Norway. Thank you very much, Kim. Haugley. 1185, Manta 249. Goodbye. Oh, struggling a bit with that nose wheel steering. There we go. Yeah, thank you very much, Kim. Really appreciate it. And thank you very much for supporting the channel. I hope you're doing very well today. Greetings to you in North Norway. Must be very cold there. Right, let's get this right frequency. Tower 1185. Oh, let's not go too far. Okay, right. Hopefully we find Pluto soon. It's up there by Alpha 4. Good news. Right, so anyway, that most likely can go back to norm as well. Get rid of the APU bleed. Get rid of the APU. Your electric pump's already off. And I think we're in a pretty good state. What's the temperature outside? 11 degrees, but it is now raining, so let's have the engine anti-ice on for takeoff. Is this Pluto? No, Alpha 5, so it's the next one. Doesn't look like... Oh, there it is, Pluto. Excellent. The magic of this scenery. Okay. Alexander Pasuto says, is it complicated setting everything up? Send me a message on Discord, Alexander. Yeah, about YouTube. Yeah. I've been learning all the time. I still learn every time I try and start up any stream or video. Right. Let's get to Pluto. Let's stop and then do our checklist because, yeah. Been a bit disjointed this taxi out. So here's Pluto. There's a heavy aircraft waiting ahead of us anyway, so we're going to have a bit of a wait for them. And there must be a heavy there. What's going on? What's going on? Come on. Why aren't the brakes applying evenly? Ah, there we go. Okay. Right. So, as a departure, let's have a look at what we're doing. We're going to take off, make our left turn round from 27 right, just over here after these aircraft. Come up to 6,000 feet, and then head down to Epsom. We've got our 2 DME point for our turn, which we've got marked up here. The engines are now warm. That's all good. Flap 1 takeoff, packs off, engine anti-ice will be... Sorry, packs on, engine anti-ice will be on. No problem there. Good stuff. We got our data loaded in. Flap 1 takeoff with the quite high speeds. Good stuff. Weather radar would be worth having, so that would be on that side. So let's get that weather radar on. Predicted wind shear on. Transponder to CA max auto brake, takeoff config, and let's ding dong on the cabin crew. Right, let's run the checklist before takeoff checklist. Oh, what we haven't done, obviously. And you can't do this until you've started that second engine. Flight controls, full left, full right, full down, full up, neutral, rudder, full left, full right, neutral. Yeah, you can't do that until that second engine started up, obviously. because the hydraulic systems will do all sorts of swapping over and so on. Right, before takeoff tests, flight controls are checked, flight instruments checked, briefing confirmed, flap setting. Config 1 was green, config 1 blue in there. FMA and takeoff data, I've got brake max climb, nav blue, 1FD2, stopping at 6,000 feet. And I've got 153, 157. We're going to do a flex of 59. Transponder is set to TARA, eco memo, takeoff no blue. Cabin is secured for takeoff. Engine mode select, stay at normal. TCAS is TARA. Pack's going to stay on. Right, we're ready to go. Are we the only ones out here? Looks like we are. I wonder where the speedbird's off to. Speedbird 81. It's been a long old flight. Swappy S, thank you very much. Very kind of you for your 100 rupee donation. Really appreciate it, Swappy. I hope you're doing very well. And yeah, thank you very much for coming along and supporting us as always. Manta 249 holding at Pluto, ready for departure.
Manta 249, hold Alpha 4.
Hold Alpha 4, Manta 249. Right, from our chart investigating earlier, we know Alpha 4 is right next to us. Let's release that brake. I've got the... oh, it's doing its old ToLiss trick. There we go. I've got the brake assigned to the throttle quadrant, which helps. But yeah, thank you very much, Swappy, for your donation. Really appreciate it. I hope you're doing very well, and thanks as ever for supporting the channel. Right, we're going to hold here on the left, Alpha 4. Oh, we've got landing traffic. Excellent.
Manta 249 behind the landing BA 320 via Alpha 4, line up runway 27 right behind.
Behind the landing BA A320 via Alpha 4, line up runway 27 right behind Manta 249. Okay, parking brake is set. We'd be looking out now. Let's see if we can see them out here. So we're looking for a BA 320 to land in front of us, and then we can line up behind them. Something I might do just to remind me that I'm clear to line up. Put in some symbol in there. Some people put an L. Yeah, the rain effect's a bit of a shame. It's not as good as the live rain, but sadly that never got updated, I think, to the new version. Andy says the BA 777 is going to Accra. Excellent. There they go. Is that the traffic? There it is. Andy says there's actually a second-hand 321 NEO for sale. There you go. We'll have a whip round on the Discord. Excellent. Swappy S says, what do you think of the Innie Beluga? Yeah, I can't wait. However, I think it came up in Discord. It just depends what they're going to charge for it. I hope it's not too expensive given the price of the A300, because they're going to sell it on its own, so I'm hoping it's not full price like the A300 was, but I would understand why it might be. There's the speedbird landed. We better get going. Brakes released. Doing its old trick. I think some of these ground handling bugs may have been fixed in this latest update as well. Anyway, still check it's clear out on approach. The first officer would have to do that in this context, really. Right, let's get those lights on. Oh dear, my pedals are sliding all over the place. That's not good. That is not good at all. Let's get rid of that wiper. The wipers are that loud. They are incredibly loud, and people really try not to use them unless they absolutely have to. It's quite funny, really. And you typically use them for the last 200 feet on landing, and you'll use them again for only the... Right, Alpha 4, clear takeoff, 27 right, Manta 249. Yeah, and on takeoff you're only going to use them for that very first part. Well, for the takeoff roll up until you can turn them off safely in flight. Right, let's get going then. So let's start the timer. Set the 50%. Off we go. Let's go to Innsbruck. 2 clicks forwards. Love it. Manflex 59, SRS runway. Order thrust is armed and blue. It's a whole new world of Airbus simming using the detents 80 to 100, releasing that pressure on the side stick. Gonna get a nice way down this runway. V1 rotates. Now I'm holding the side stick. The real Neos have a rotate law, but you see there it hesitates around 11 degrees, which is accurate for the older aeroplanes. I believe the rotate law has been added. Positive climb, let's get the gear up. I believe the rotate law has been added to the fly-by-wire mod, so I need to test that out as well. Very exciting. And away we go. Look how busy Heathrow is. Fantastic. Right. Through our 1,000 feet. Back a click. Thrust, climb, climb. Auto thrusts. Let's bring that PFD a little bit bigger. You guys probably can't see that at all. I'm struggling. Round the left turn we go. Should get, I'm imagining, a nice view of that M25. Yeah, I suppose this rain windshield effect we're seeing is the default X-Plane one that sort of tries to simulate the blurring of the water, but it's not quite as good as what we're used to these days with Microsoft Flight Simulator. 134, 125, Manta 249, goodbye. Flaps up. Let's just finish flying the aeroplane. So we're entering the cloud. The engine anti-ice is on. Flaps are at 0, so we can disarm the ground spoilers. Get rid of those nose wheel lights. Great stuff. I love the low-level cloud effects. Entering stratus cloud in X-Plane is still excellent, excellent, excellent. It's great for simulating the effect of going in and out. Right, now we're climbing too fast because we're in busy airspace. Let's pull that vertical speed. So nice for it to just work, isn't it? Oh, not like that. And we'll go to, let's do 1,000. So speed, vertical speed, plus 1,000. Now let's get hold of London. 124, 125.
Gonna vacate to the left since that's the only vacation.
Yeah, and then right on Alpha.
Right on Alpha, speed at 491 uniform. London, hello, 313 Mike Romeo, descending through flight level 195 for 180.
Speedbird 13 Mike Romeo, London, good evening, descent flight level 90.
Flight level 90, 313 Mike Romeo.
London, good evening, Manta 249, deckling 2 Foxtrot, passing 4,900, climbing 6,000 feet.
Descent flight level 90.
Oops. I'm going to be in trouble for that.
I'm sorry, that was blocked for Speedbird Concorde 2.
Oh, there's a Concorde out there.
Concorde 2, no problem. Bedeck, 1 hotel arrival, descent flight
Excellent.
level 90.
Oh well, while we're waiting, after takeoff checklist is landing gear, up, flaps retracted, packs on, that's down to line.
Speedbird Concorde 2, can I get direct correctors or runway, please? Speedbird Concorde 2, roger, fly heading 090 degrees.
Yeah, I can imagine, I don't know if Concorde has the ability to just enter stars, you'd probably have to fly that manually. Could be tricky when there's just one of you. London, good evening, Manta 249 on a deckling 2 Foxtrot, passing 5,800, climbing 6,000 feet. That's star.
Manta 249, London Control, good evening, climb now, flight level 180.
Climb now, flight level 180, Manta 249. And look at that, right up into the lovely clear skies.
Manta 249, fly heading 120 degrees.
Heading 120 degrees, Manta 249. Heading 120, 180 is in. Let's set standard, going up to flight level. So standard is set, both sides. We've got 6-4 climbing, flight level 180. All looking good, and it is armed. So below the line is barrier F, standard set. It is set. So they're taking us off to the right, get us around some arriving traffic by the looks of it. Makes sense, I suppose. And lovely clear skies up here. Let's get our departure shots.
Alpaca to the go for maintaining 6,000 feet.
Two stations, Alpaca 22 Golf, London. Hello, apologies. You disconnected, so you're back again now. Climb flight level 180.
Time for level 180, Alpaca to Golf. Thank you.
Right. Andy says, go on, get the Kalamata Concorde. You know you want to. Yeah.
49 traffic information for you behind 6 o'clock opposite direction. Flight level 90 is an Airbus A321 diverging.
I think that was for us. Copy, Manta 219. That looks like them there.
4718 London, good evening. Climb now flight level.
It's rare for air traffic control to contact you about traffic behind you. Just because you wouldn't have a clue. You've got no mirrors. I suppose they might be warning you just to say they're aware of it, because if you see it on TCAS. Yeah, Kalamata Concorde, that would be quite a challenge. There's flight 100. We're going to accelerate. Get rid of the landing lights. Definitely don't need the engine anti-ice. Seatbelts can go. Not a long flight. Passengers need time to walk around. Let's clean this up now. So secondary. Well, we haven't had an engine failure, so you could leave it, I suppose, because we could still want to stop at Detling. But I'm just going to copy it over now and remake it if I need to. Radnav, no longer need the London. Excellent news. Oh, and I don't need Epsom either. And away we go. Oh, it's a nicer day over here than it was in London.
Speedbird 112 London control, good evening, maintain. Sorry, maintain flight level 1.
Yeah, Concorde is INS VOR, says Andy, 1H1302. Yeah. Swappy S is past midnight for Swappy. Yeah, sorry Swappy, this is a bit of a later one. So yeah, I hope you don't have to stay up too late. Thanks for staying up for us this far. Ah, Alexander Pasuto likes diving as well. Excellent. So Briani Silver also is an instructor. He's going to help me get refreshed. TC says, would like to see you do a transatlantic flight sometime, like Heathrow to Newark or JFK or something. Yeah, transatlantic's definitely something I'd like to do now we've braved the world of long haul. 40,000 is going to be another long haul flight for sure if we get to 40,000 subscribers. I haven't decided where yet. Vicario says, are you flying on VATSIM? We are indeed. Victor Tango says, did you change the sensitivity settings for the side stick in X-Plane? Yeah, so I made the side stick, there was a bit of a curve and I got rid of the curve. I think I have a completely linear sensitivity, but I will check that after the flight, because I found it was a bit lacking. I had to move the side stick more than I felt I would have to in real life at times, especially on takeoff. Oh, Mark says, would the Airbus change rotation rate for tail strike protection? Direct over, Manta 249. Direct. Dover, there we go. Nav. So yeah, Mark says, would the Airbus change rotation rate for tail strike protection if you pull too fast during rotation, since it has many protections? Funnily enough, the original Airbus is no. The 321 NEOs have an ability, and I think the 320 NEO has the ability as well, where if you pull too fast, too much pitch on the ground, it will actually reduce, and it won't keep rotating. The reason the NEOs have it is because they have a different rotation law, where it's easy to accidentally, if you pull on the side stick, it will give you such a high rotation rate that it's easy to get into that situation. Right, we are getting close to our level off, so let's pull that vertical speed. So yeah, you're right, on the NEOs it would. However, it is completely overridable. If you were to go full backstick, it would override the tail strike protection, and it could break through it anyway. But I understand that tail strike protection's been added to the A320 NX mod, which is very exciting, along with the rotation law. I'm looking forward to trying it, because the rotation's been one of the worst parts of the default 320 in Microsoft Flight Simulator for a long time. It's been really shocking. Captain Bagoff wants a long haul flight from Frankfurt to KSAT. Where's KSAT? That's excellent. Lawrence Trant says, I love your accent. Excellent. Thank you very much.
Crossing left to right, A320 descending.
Outstart. There we go. Is that a call for us?
Quality 46 Juliet Bravo.
Sounds like it's nuts.
Navigation direct Papis.
On navigation direct Papis 46 Juliet Bravo.
Speedbird 409 uniform, climb flight level 150.
Brad says 40k United States flight. Yeah, we could go the other way. Why not? Yeah, why not?
Quality 46 Juliet Bravo, descent flight level 80.
Descent flight level 80, quality 46 Juliet Bravo.
The Morgan Thomas Show.
Speedbird 409 uniform.
I hope your meeting was good.
45.
KSAT is San Antonio. Excellent, excellent.
Quality 46 Juliet Bravo.
Fly Guy, I agree. Fly Guy says it really is amazing how fast this channel is growing. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's amazing. Very lucky.
Manta 249, contact London 129.45. Good evening.
129.425 Manta 249. Good evening. Yeah, it's amazing, and it's thanks to you guys. So thank you all for coming along. And I mean, I've been enjoying every day of it right from the start. It's been great fun.
Lufthansa 816 London. Good.
Fully 46 Juliet Bravo London control. Hello.
Does that work?
Copy landing runway 20.
Sounds like it is.
Descent
45. Yeah, good stuff.
5,000 feet.
Yeah, no, I've been absolutely loving it. But thank you all for helping support it and promote the channel. It means a lot. And if you are watching and you are enjoying, do please hit the like button. That is the best thing you can do for the channel. It teams. YouTube absolutely loves it when that happens.
EZ40, report you're heading to London 127.1. Bye-bye.
Morgan Thomas Show wants us in KATL. Oh, where's that?
Alpaca 22 Golf, report you're heading to Brussels 129.575. Alpaca 2 Golf, go ahead. Alpaca 22 Golf heading to Brussels 129.
The chrono is still on to Victor Tango. Yeah, good point, good point. Now, funnily enough, you will sometimes take over an aeroplane where you'll get on board and you'll find that it's just been left running from the previous flight. Some pilots don't bother to turn it off. If they didn't need it for the rest of the flight, but we probably will need it later, so we'll leave it. But yeah, good spot, thanks. London Manta 249, flight level 180, Dover.
Manta 249 London, hello, climb now flight level 290.
Climb now flight level 290, Manta 249.
Charlie Fox.
Proper step climb, thrust climb, open climb. 290 is there. Out blew his arms.
070 for 702.
BT force of 198, passing 18,000 for 19,000, just past Falkland.
EZ4718 London, hello, climb flight level 3.
Fly Guy says, I came a few months ago when we had 73 subscribers. Now we're at 35k. Yeah. I mean, yeah, amazing. 73, that was right at the start. Excellent stuff. Right. Well, we don't need that. That's
Quality
that,
46 Juliet
or
Bravo,
that.
turn left heading 190 degrees, descent to altitude 3,000 feet.
There we go.
3,000 left heading 190, quality 46 Juliet Bravo.
Ooh.
Golf Alpha X-ray report you're heading to Brussels 1.
They're reporting runway 08 ground conditions, so that's interesting. That's very interesting. Even though it's 250 at 6.
Manta 249, contact Brussels 129.575.
129.575, Manta 249. G'day.
EZ4718, contact Eurocontrol 135.
Oh, almost forgot to use my radios there. 129.575. 575.
Brussels Control, good evening. Golf Bravo, Lima Alpha X-ray, flight level 290, heading 090.
Golf Alpha X-ray, hello, radar contact, climb flight level 370 and turn right heading 110.
Flight 370, turn right heading 110, Golf Bravo, Lima Alpha X-ray.
Brussels, good evening. Manta 249, climbing flight level 290 to Conan.
Timex 149, radar contact, climb flight level 370.
954 370 Manta 249. 370, there it is, and armed, that blue 370, off we go. Not a long flight at all. I've gotten so used to really long ones. Oh dear. So anyway, it looks like they're possibly going to be sticking us onto 08, but I'm just going to check that map and see what's going on and whether we have controllers over there. Oh, I think we might. We do. We do. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Right, well, I have a feeling, because they do this in Innsbruck, where they will... Oh, there's loads of towers online. Yeah, it's possible that they're going to use that runway for the all sorts of reasons, including wind on final approach could be, or wind on the approach could be too strong down the valley. Just because the wind's like that on the ground doesn't guarantee that a bit higher up it's not the opposite direction. So here we go. Here we go. Right, so they look like they're using runway 08, just judging by the fact they reported it. Something of note is this, so runway 08, this is a runway state sort of decoder, and you can decode these quite easily. This, looking at this, it's hard to remember. I'd have to use my actual decoding, but I can cheat, and I can tell you that this is telling us that there's wet puddles, good braking action. The 95 I recognise as being good braking action, but the 29 is just wet. So this is issued when there's, usually it's for snow. This is just telling us it's wet when we get there. But look at this weather, few 500 scattered 1500, so there's only one way in. We're going to have to use one of the RNAVs. And as you guys know, being Manta Airlines, we are capable of every level of 320 approach that there is. We are certified for everything. We are the most well-equipped 321 NEO operator out there. So that, for now, sounds like the RMP Zulu AR authorization required to runway 08. Very nice. Look at that. Lovely. There is a chance, though, they could send us down. No, in fact, we won't be able to circle in those conditions. I suspect anyway. Because the alternative would be doing the Lock DME East. Nah, well, you could be right on the limit for circling, but it's not a good day for doing that. So I'm hoping we'll just like that RMP. Like I said, for videos on the more complicated styles, we have done circling on the channel before, but I really was hoping not to have to circle today. I must admit, I must confess, guys. PT says, maybe you can do the Cross the Pond VATSIM event. The next one is slated for spring sometime, and it's a westbound transatlantic with full ATC. Okay, there, yeah, maybe we could. Maybe I could try and do that. I have to brush up on my transatlantic stuff. Look at that tailwind. Let's go to airports and zoom in slightly. There we go. Brussels will be right down here. There's Amsterdam. All very civilized. Dacross says, all I know about Innsbruck approach is to look for the flats, the rabbits, then the runway. Yeah, that's it, yeah. NS says, what radio panel do you use? I've got the Logitech radio panel. I got it recently just to give myself, makes it a bit easier for the streams. Where I was having trouble doing this whilst trying to manually fly and so on, so it means I don't have to look away as much. So it's been, yeah, a nice change, definitely.
Much earlier. Yeah, we know. I didn't pay attention. Delta Bravo.
Victor Tango says it's a bit early for excuses, but I'd have to disagree. We are above 1,000 feet, so it's absolutely the time for excuses. They can start any time above 1,000 on departure through to before 1,000 on approach. Manuel says, I'm from Austria. We have bad weather here. Yeah, yeah, we're starting to see that. NSI, you're welcome.
X-ray direct to Pites.
Direct to Peter Golf Alpha X-ray.
Getting a bit of turbulence from that jet stream. Ollie says, are you looking forward to the ToLiss A340 or any A380 more? Oh, wow. Both. I mean, the INI A380, have we got any news on that? That's so different to the A300. So in terms of systems, I wonder how long that'll be before we get to see that. The ToLiss A340, I'm hoping, is so similar to the 320 family that we can have that in our hands relatively soon. And I've never had a 340 in a flight simulator. I had a 380 in Aerofly FS on my mobile phone, and that's about it. So the A380 would be great. Both of those, I'd say. I'm looking forward to the fly-by-wire A380 as well for flight simulator.
38 kilo, contact Langen radar 127725.
Morgan Thomas says, sounds like someone in front of you didn't watch the When Should I Descend video.
38 kilo.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. I wonder, it sounded like they were being offered a straight in that maybe they weren't ready for. Yeah, that does happen. If you're not familiar with the airport, they might have been expecting to fly the whole arrival.
Contact Langen 127725.
Contact Langen on 127.
Good news, it looks like the chat's starting to work again, which is pretty good.
2690, contact Langen radar 127725.
Right,
Over to Langen radar 127.72.
let's bring up our charts. So, if they're using 08 in this weather, this is the way forwards. This approach is so good. RMP 0.3, landing onto 08. There is actually a 0.16, I think, on the other runway. But this one only needs 0.3, which we'll easily be capable of. It's an authorization required approach, so it's RMP 8R, so you have to be approved to do these. The reason is it has turns whilst you're following it. So there's a certain track keeping criteria we're going to need to follow and so on. It's also going to be a steep approach, 3.6 degrees, so definitely steep enough. Now, I'm not going to follow any airline SOPs here. I'm going to just see what works and apply a bit of logic to it and see if we manage. Now, you'll notice missed approach RMP is below 1, so we've got to be really precise on that missed approach out to these waypoints. Because this valley is just so narrow. This is a beautiful approach. Of course, we're not going to see much of it today. But, yeah, it's amazing. The minima down at 1,000 feet. I mean, that's just so good. RVR for Cat C, 2,400 meters. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Starting off at 13,000 feet. It's a long old approach. And I reckon if we start down, we'll get to Elmem, then we'll be 13,000 feet, get to our descent point, Whiskey India 750. Obviously, we'll have to go via Elmen. We can't go direct to the Whiskey India 750. We have to use this waypoint. So we'll make sure we do. I can't see the final descent point. We've talked about this before. But anyway, we're going to arm approach before we get to Whiskey India 750. Then we should start our descent from 13,000 feet. It's a steep approach into a valley, so I don't want to be screaming down here going fast. We can also see max 175 for this turn, and that's why, because we're going to be pointing right at these hills and we'll be below the hill line for a lot of this approach. Actually, you're pretty much going below the hills as soon as you start down. So we'll be gear down flap 3, and then later on we'll go flap full sometime a bit lower down, because I don't think we'll need flap full if we have the gear down. But we'll see. If we have a tailwind, which we might, if the wind is westerly, then we could have a bit of trouble. They might use westerly. They might use this runway even if there's a westerly wind the whole way. Oh no. Oh dear. Master caution. Right, okay. Carry on flying. Well, we're still climbing. Flight level 370. It's armed. We're still at normal law. We have these nice green equal signs telling us that. And the airplane is going to keep doing thrust climb, open climb, nav. The autopilot's working, so that's all good news. We can carry on this route for now. It's a straight line. We're over Europe. We've got lots of areas around us. And we can keep going up because we aren't going to depressurize for a fact fault. And I don't need to talk to our traffic control because we're carrying on as we were cleared to. Don't see any problems with that. Right, good.
Delta Delta Bravo, right.
So,
Heading
we've
120.
done our fly. Let's have a look at the ECAM. Auto flight, FAC 1 fault. Okay, what is there? Yeah, flight control, FAC 1, which is the flight augmentation computer number 1, has a fault. Luckily, we've got number 2 over there. So, what are we going to do? Right, well, there's no OEBs. If there was a operational engineering bulletin, you'd have to apply that even over the ECAM. Some faults Airbus knows about, they'll give you these written warnings. But we don't have to worry about that because there aren't any. In this airline, we have no OEBs open. You check the OEBs, by the way, guys. You have a QRH either on the iPad or a paper one. So in the QRH, it actually lists them. Anyway, we're going to follow the ECAM as a result. So, autoflight, FAC 1 fault, FAC 1 off, then on. Now, obviously, the other pilot would be flying at this point. Let's go FAC 1 off. Never do it straight away. Every pilot will give it a few seconds. On. It's not working. If unsuccessful, FAC 1 off. FAC 1 off. Right. That if unsuccessful line should disappear as well.
Delta Delta Bravo, right.
Okay. That's not worked. That's broken. It's off. Let's clear autoflight. Status page. Oh, here we go. Both PFDs are on the same FAC. Cat 3 single only. Inoperative systems, Cat 3 dual, and FAC 1. Now that is interesting. That is interesting. Anyway, we can't do low visibility operations now below Cat 3 single. Now the reality is Cat 3 single is already excellent. So the Airbus, as I said before, is so capable. Cat 3 single you could get in most fog anyway. It's very rare to need Cat 3 dual. But we can only do a Cat 3A approach as it stands. Both PFDs are on the same FAC. That is where we're getting our sort of these speed tapes, the VLS and so on. So they're both running on the same one. So we've lost a little bit of redundancy there. And that's it. So we're going to remove that. You can press status to remove that in the real aircrafts. If I press that, it should go. But anyway, clear. And it's gone. That's the ECAM complete. Thank you very much, Johan Yelling, for your 20 Danish donation. That's very kind of you. Johan says, thanks for the great vids and streams. Very inspiring. That's really kind of you to say, so thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And thank you for coming along. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Johan. Very kind of you. And thanks for supporting the channel. Swappy, good night. Thanks for coming along. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming along. Sorry it's so late. Captain Bagoff says the plane itself said, have you tried turning it off and on again? Yeah, the Airbus will say that a lot. It will say that a lot. Anyway, so that's done. Let's go back to the flying. So we're going to level off. That's fine. We haven't got any pressurization issues. We're actually nice and slow. So I'm going to be quite happy to stay that slow. We don't want to get there rushed in. Optimum, maximum 376. Ooh. Now I should have checked that in the climb. This is showing us the problem of being up at your optimum in a 321. It's not a big margin. You can see we're at decimal 76 as well, and we're only just above green dot, so it's not very comfortable. That's why typically in the 321 you'll give a bit more breathing space. I'd probably try and have 1,000 feet plus buffer, not 600 feet like we're about to have. Back out start, there it is. Okay, let's get that TCAS to below. And let's do a systems check. Especially useful today, given that we know there's one system not happy. All looking fine. And we should see on the flight control page, we're going to see the amber. No, of course. No, it's not. No, because it's the augmentation computer, not the flight control. Yeah, okay, interesting. There we go. Learning something every day. And there's our status page still warning us that it's broken. Don't do any low vis. Well, we're not doing low vis today, luckily. So let's think about this. How does this affect the rest of the flight? Do we need to do anything? So, got plenty of fuel. Let's do a fuel check actually, make sure that that's leaking. So we burnt 2.1 plus 6.6, 7.6, 8.6, 8.7, which is about what we left with. So that's all working out fine. So we got time to come to a decision. But we've got a fault with our flight augmentation computer. Second one's taken over. That's fine. Not too concerning for the approach. So we have a few things we could consider now. Do we want to go to Innsbruck? Do we want to go to an alternate of some variety? Do we want to divert on the way? Is it that important? Do we want to go back to London? Well, for the sake of today, we're going to say we want to carry on to Innsbruck. I can't foresee it causing us an issue. We still have GPS primary accuracy high. We still have fully functioning IRSs. And most importantly, we have the GPS working, both of them, which is what we're going to need to navigate down that approach. Now, there are reasons you may actually say, it might not be a good idea to go. You might want to look up in the minimum equipment list whether having a FAC fault like that, is that going to need engineering time? Are we able to depart with one FAC off? Because if we aren't, then that's going to be a bit of a nuisance to be stuck in an airport like Innsbruck. There's not many flights a day to Innsbruck, so the chance of getting spare parts could be slightly more difficult than a bigger international airport like Munich, which will also have a lot of Airbuses coming in and out of it. Alternatively, your company may want you back in London or wherever you set off from to get it fixed properly. But, as I said, for today, we're going to carry on. The Greek Badger says, was that planned? No, I have faults enabled on ToLiss. So the ToLiss does this because the ToLiss has a very powerful fault system. There we go. So I could clear it out. I may clear it out so I don't end up in a mess on the approach. But I don't think I can foresee, and obviously you both have a check of the manuals and so on. Yeah, so sorry about that, but yeah, no particular reason that affects our navigation performance. It's more of a handling thing, and we have backup in the Airbus. We have 7 of these computers anyway. So I think we can carry on. Sorry, Dylan, I should speak a bit slower. I do have a habit of mumbling, so I do apologise. Jonathan says, what do the 4 knobs in front of the ECAM do? These are used to switch. So if we had an issue with, for example, our air data computer that's showing us our speed, our altitude and so on, we can swap it over to the 3rd source. So I could change my one, the captain's side, to the 3rd source like that. You won't see any difference because they're all working. Same with the EIS and the ECAM. I can send the ECAM over there, or if I send it the other way to the FO, it goes over there. Again, great level of depth of simulation in the ToLiss. Good stuff. Right, let us prepare then. So we were talking about that approach. Let's hope we keep on our screens, because we have had these failures cause some problems before. Yeah, so that is the plan. So I think start down, gear down, flap 3, arm on the final approach. We'll head down here, let it fly through the valley. We can have a minima of 2,900 feet, which is 993. So that's actually after all the turns, which we may need today because we could be IMC or close to IMC for a lot of this approach. It's interesting. The ToLiss isn't quite up to date with its automatics. So this airplane in real life, the one we are flying here, would not be certified for this because the autopilot, I know, will drop out shortly after the minima. And I don't think that's true of this level of aircraft. I think, I'm not entirely sure, it's a lot of regulation and red tape, but basically the autopilot will drop out shortly after we go through minima in the ToLiss, which it wouldn't do on the real aircraft these days, on the latest sort of updated version of the system. These days you can actually use that guidance all the way down almost to the runway, as long as the missed approach point is there, which it is today pretty much. So yeah, they're very clever. 127.725, Manta 249. Goodbye.
And Delta Bravo, stand Alpha 14.
Stand Alpha 14 for Delta Bravo.
And Delta Bravo, monitor frequency 131.1. Good day.
F5, wait you at flight level 330. KLM 355, Langen identified.
Langen, good evening. Manta 249, flight level 370 to Delta India Kilo.
Manta 249, Langen identified.
There we go. Great. So pilots have to have training to go to Innsbruck and do this. You can see special aircraft, aircrew and aircraft authorization required. That's because this is the RMP AR, but it's also required in Innsbruck in general because it's a Cat C airport. Both the captain and the FO need training for this. Slightly unusual. There are some airports where that's not the case, but yeah, it takes a lot of extra training, simulators and so on before you're ready to go here. Here's the RMP Zulu AR guidelines. We need dual FMS. Well, we've got both of those, including RMP 0.3 or better. Well, ours is 0.05, so we easily beat that. We've got dual GPS. Yeah, we do. And at least one IRU or equivalent. DME, VOR DME or lock update not authorized. What that means is we need our spinning gyros, which we've got. There are systems that can update using VOR DME or DME, and DME is the most accurate of those, but even so, that's not good enough. You need the inertial reference unit. FMS must be capable of performing the RF path terminator, radial fix, I'm assuming that is. And there's a whole list of functions you need. You need to do a RAIM check. Oh, very good. Predictive GPS. When do we plan to arrive at Laui? 1324. Let's see, how long have we got to go? 30 minutes. So let's just put in 1400. Then it should do a check, and there we go. And it says we're going to have GPS available from -15 to +15 around that estimated time at the destination and at the waypoint FR260. So there we go. Oh, have I put that in wrong? Is that in 14 hours? Maybe that... Anyway, it's a RAIM is a random autonomous integrity monitoring. It's it's not something we talk about much, but yeah, that's just checking the ability to have all the satellites available that you need to fly the approach. Michael Calder, thank you very much for your Australian 449. Very kind of you. Thank you. Michael says, "Hey mate, love the channel. Have a coffee on me." Thank you very much. I will do that. That's very kind of you. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Michael, and thanks for coming along and saying so. Very kind of you. Thank you. Hope you're doing well in Australia. Fantastic. Right, let's go back to constraints. Let's have a look through the plan before I embarrass myself talking about RMP systems anymore. So, plan, zoom in, FMGC. So, let's check from Elman, 13,000s. It's becoming more and more likely we're going to do the RMP Zulu 08. I'm going to do that. Oh no, hold on. Let's do this right. Right, arrival. RMP Zulu 08. We are coming in via Madeb and Elman. How does that look? So Madeb to Elman, 13,000 feet and above. That's what we're expecting at Elman. Then Whiskey India 750. 13,000 feet, that's where we begin our descent. 3.6 degree from there. As we said, we'll be gear down flap 3. Head down the valley to Whiskey India 751, 752, below 175 knots, which we will be, as we'll be flap 3. Down to 753, 754 at 165 knots. Again, we will be. There's that radial to fixed leg, the RF written there, hence the authorization required. And then a left turn onto final, all very straightforwards in and land. It's going to be miserable conditions, so we're not going to expect to see that runway until pretty late on. The go around is where it gets a little bit fiddly. We need to be very precise with our navigation. We need to make sure we force it to go nav in the go around. We're also not going to accelerate straight away because there are some climb gradients we need to meet. Now again, this is not official procedure. I have been sent an aid memoir from Matteo, kindly sent over the British Airways Virtual have an aid memoir. And that suggested putting in a thrust reduction and acceleration altitude of 7,000 feet in the event we go around, to stop you trying to reduce the thrust and accelerate whilst you're still in the valley. We'll also put in 9,500 in case of an engine out failure. But importantly, if we do have a go around, we need to time. We do need to start the clock, which is why I said that that clock's going to be useful. Normally it's not an issue, but we have a time limit on using that engine thrust. We can use go around thrust, and we'll be toga for a go around, remember, full thrust. We can use full thrust for up to 5 minutes. If we have an engine failure, 10 minutes. But either way, we need to start the timer once we start the go around, because if we're on single engine trying to fly this go around and climb all the way up to 9,500 feet, we could find ourselves running out of time, in which case we may have to reduce that thrust a bit earlier. So we need to start the timer and make sure we don't run the engine too long. But anyway, off we go to the hold at Romeo Tango Tango. Now I'm saying all this, we're probably going to find out that pretty soon they've swapped runway again. But there we go. So that is the flight plan set up. It's an entirely INAV approach. There's not a whole lot to tune here. Progress page. Lower 08. Perf page. Let's try and get that weather in. Now, at least if we swap runways, so 2506, temperature 1. Yeah, if we swap runways and they make us land westerly, we'll have a slightly longer time to set up for it, because obviously we're going to have to go around the other way. Our transition level is going to be high. It's going to be, we'll get that from the 80s, but I reckon at least 130, maybe even 140 will be the last flight level, because you have to start that approach from an altitude. Let's get that minima in, 2,900. Sounds high, but it's only 1,000 feet above the ground, of course, because we are looking at an elevation of almost 2,000 feet here in Innsbruck. And we've done our go around page. Loads of fuel, 3.5 if required. Secondary flight plan, let's copy that over. Now you could set up the secondary with the other runway in case you want that for arrival, but I'm actually going to leave it and just change the primary if we need to swap over for the approach. Sorry, yes, so 0.3 required. This RMP 0.3 means 0.3 miles. The airplane needs to know where it is within 0.3 miles. And our airplane at the moment needs to know where it is within 1 mile. But by the time it's on approach, it needs to know where it is within 0.3. I had someone comment and say that's quite a lot. And it sort of is a lot, and it sort of isn't. It's, you know, you're talking about meters apart here. But airplanes are quite big, so it's only a couple of airplane widths apart, really. It's quite amazingly precise. And as we said, on the other runway, there's one that goes down to 0.16. You'll notice you have to actually apply for procedure to do this with Austria. Yeah, and there's more guidelines for the other runway. Other considerations we're going to have for Innsbruck today. Let's not miss our descent as well, actually. Coming up in 80 miles, good. Yeah, so some other considerations. Well, we've talked about the go-around. What I'm going to do on the go-around as well is I'm just going to pull the speed after we start our go-arounds. So we'll go around like normal, but instead of letting the speed decide itself, we'll actually pull it to force the airplane to keep climbing until we're happy we've made it around the turns. It's not such an issue on this go-around. That's more for if you're trying to do 180 turns in the valley, which there are some on some of the approaches, which may come up later, we'll see. We also need to have good go-around performance even if we have an engine failure. So to assure that, what we're going to do is make sure we use the APU to pressurize. That way the bleed air isn't being sent from the engines and it can be used for performance. So what I'm talking about there is, for approaches with these sorts of go-arounds, another one would be Salzburg. We actually start the APU. I won't do it up here. You can't start the APU up in the cruise. You can have it running in the cruise, but you wouldn't start it up here. But anyway, I digress. We're going to want to provide or save some of that engine thrust. So if we start the APU and then use that for pressurization later on in the flight, instead, then we can have the advantage of having more thrust for the engines in the event of a go-around. Now that's great, except on days like this, where in winter, there's actually potential for icing in these clouds. If we find we have icing actually forming on the aeroplane, so engine anti-ice is fine, we can use the engine anti-ice. But if we have the APU bleed on, pressurizing the cabin, and then we want to use the wing anti-ice, the airplane, this is one of the few things the Airbus doesn't do automatically, the airplane can't work out that it needs to divert the air. It doesn't have the ability. So what's going to happen is the APU bleed will try and also provide the wing anti-ice. The wing anti-ice, as you guys know, it only heats the outboard 3 slats. That's all that's heated. That's all the wing anti-ice does. Just the outer parts of the wing here in front of the aileron and these outer flaps. But even so, that's a lot of pressure, and the little APU at the back can't provide enough pressure to actually do that. So if we need to use the APU bleed, if we need to use the wing anti-ice during this descent, then what we're going to have to do is turn off the APU bleed. So we've got to be careful. Got to be careful here. Oh, you might hear the cat. It's first hello of the day. Reverse green simulations. Yes, I'm not going to say that out loud because I don't want to. I don't want to tempt my computer. Hager says, hello, what add-ons do you use? Hello to you. We're using the ToLiss A321, Avitab, better pushback, and there was some talk, I think Swappy asked as well actually, I think Swappy's gone now though, about using weather add-ons, but I don't have any yet, but I'm thinking about it.
Yep, 260 and actually now turn right heading 040. And turn right heading 040, Golf Alpha X-ray.
Yeah, Daniel Lawrence is a good excuse for me. We're going to be landing with a tailwind, so that's a good excuse. That's definitely a good excuse.
Contact Langham 125.05. Thank you, bye-bye.
Infinite 224 says, why does it say ignition when you turn on the engine anti-ice? So it says that because it does it automatically. When you put on the engine anti-ice. But, oh, I'm getting confused now. I don't think in the NEO it should do that. I think in the NEO it just puts on the engine anti-ice and you have to select ignition if you want it. But in the older 321s, every time you turn on the engine anti-ice, it automatically puts on the ignition. If we don't have that on, and we want ignition, we can do it ourselves by doing that, and then ignition comes on its own. And you'll see down there that we have that little, I'll put to ignition. Yeah, yeah. The reason it turns on for anti-ice is, you know, anti-ice is obviously being used in poor conditions, so I guess it's to help keep the engines running, because all it's doing is constantly igniting the fuel in the engines just in case there's a flame out. Also, I should say, it's a short runway here in Innsbruck.
Unidentified, climb flight level 350. Climb flight level 350, Lufthansa 189.
It's only 2,000 meters. They claim it can take a 767, but even so, we're in a 321. We're going to go medium auto brake, maximum reverse for sure. Landing in either Bravo or to the end for a turnaround. Does it not have a parking chart? Or I missed it? No. Anyway, I should also have the arrival plate ready, which is just there. Madam to Elman, 13,000 feet. Lots of high MSAs. We're going to have to go below the MSA only using the procedure, and as you can see, it's down at 14.5 MSAs. Sorry, up at 14.5. Really high MSAs we're going to be going below. We could start putting up some rings, but I don't want to clutter up the navigation display too much, because we could put a fixed info. And we could put in, let's put in this one here. So that is based on LMEM. LMEM. And unless it says otherwise, I think it did also describe here. Yeah, 25 radius. There we go. And we can see, let's put in the
Lufthansa 525 leaving my airspace, further climb on discretion, switch to Unicom. Bye-bye.
180090 radials. There we go. So in this sector here, we're going to be down at, sorry, up at 14.5, and then it drops to, oh, that's not quite worked out. Yeah, 14.5 in this sector here, leading up to the airport. 13.2 on this one over here. But it's tempting to get a bit too cluttered with that, but really we need to be more focused on, we're just going to have to stay on this approach. Those range rings are useful when you're being radar vectored or you're off procedure. That's when you really want to know your MSAs, and we need to know the MSAs obviously, but we're going to be below the MSA for most of this, but we have to follow the procedure perfectly. So the priority here is not losing sight of the actual procedure, and if we go around, making sure we don't bust through anything, making sure we get nav engaged, for example. Right, let's have a look. Active Sky is getting more recommendations from Wobbles, X-Vision and Active Sky. Yeah, are those the two that came out the other day? Because I've totally forgotten to write it down. Excuse standing with a cat in the cockpit. Yeah, we could do that, definitely. I could just say that she's jumped on me at the wrong moment, and that's why it all went like it did. Okay, right, there we go. So we talked about a few of these things. Yeah, wind shear. Wind shear is definitely a consideration for this. Now, some airlines allow you to treat certain forms of wind shear warnings if they're not associated with some conditions as advisory, but some other airlines will force you to follow a wind shear at all circumstances. The reality is, if the weather's bad enough in Innsbruck, it's not a place you'd go to be honest. It could be a place you end up just diverting. If we're getting reports that everyone on approach is getting wind shear warnings and they're having to do go-arounds, then blocked. Descent flight level 310, Manta 249. 310. Oh. 310, there we go. Des, so it begins. Let us just check that we have the constraints right. So 13,600, that works out. So Des, down we go. Good stuff. Hey Alex, good to see you. Thanks for coming along. Excellent Viro, it's too demanding on your system. Yeah, I have heard that. I have heard that. It looks great, but it does seem like it's a bit heavy. Right, what we haven't done is check that we are definitely landing on this runway.
Musketeer 147, report speed. Musketeer 147, Mach 0.57. You're at flight level 169, I don't request a Mach number, I request the indicated airspeed. Sorry for that, indicated airspeed 356. Musketeer 147, reduce speed to 80 knots. 280 knots, Musketeer 147.
Okay, well, I can tell you that the ATIS is using, they are on information delta. It's wet on the runway, obviously, but braking action is good, which is what we need to do this approach. If it was degraded, then we wouldn't really be having much chance to get in with only 2,000 meters. Transition level not determined. I've never seen that. Wind is calm in 8 kilometers visibility. So that's reassuring. Nice calm winds. It was much gustier earlier. Light showers of rain, few 500. Few 500 is a little bit concerning. Scattered to 500. Oh. Broken 5,000s. Oh dear. Temperature 1, dew point 1. QNH 1007. No SIG. It doesn't say which approach they're expecting. Slightly concerning. I have to start listening out. Nav 08 Yankee, says Joseph. Ah, okay. So the 08 Yankee, let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that.
249, I'll switch to Unicom, bye-bye.
Unicom Manta 249, goodbye. Unicom it is. Okay, so I don't know if Yankee 08 is slightly different. It drops you off here at Whiskey 814. So let's come up with a plan to get us through that in case we need to. I don't know why you, I mean, you in those conditions, that approach is really high minimum. What's it? Is it 7,100? Yeah, it's 5,200 feet. So that's, oh sorry, that's the, yeah, that's the minimum. So 5,200 feet above the ground is not going to end well in these conditions. I would hazard a guess. We need to descend. So let's get ourselves down to 130. Because that's just not going to work. Harry, NETA. Yeah, not long. Probably about, well, half an hour at most, but hopefully about 20 minutes. Maybe even a bit less. Yep. But yeah, if we have to fly this approach, then that does change things slightly. And my brief will need to be redone. Effectively for this one, we're going to get to Whiskey 184. Going to be, again, gear down, flap 3. Sorry, 814. At some point, I think I'll go flap full because I want to be fully configured before we carry on. After 814, we have to actually continue on a 3.8 degree descent. So this one is 3.8 the whole way, yeah. So I'm going to continue. So I want to be flat full before the 814 at VAP. Then we're going to pull the track, and then we're going to fly these tracks. We have to be visual as we fly to 006 and then make our right turn. Effectively, you're visually maneuvering, but yeah. A few last minute turns. But you have to pull the track, pull the FPA, keep flying down, keep checking those altitudes. This is where you need 2 pilots ideally. Let's have a look. It's a bit strange that their ATIS isn't showing which runway they're landing on. Are they still in the tower? Here they are. Oh, it looks like they're... Well, now it's actually like they're using 2.6. Or I misread that message that came through. Just changed to 2.6. Okay. Oh, this is all self-inflicted. I could have chosen to fly anywhere this evening. So let's go for... well, let's do the best one. Let's do the RPAR. I mean, it's just brilliant, isn't it? It just takes you straight to the runway. The go-around is really important on this one. So we've got the same restrictions. This one, you need a really high RMP. As you can see, 0.15. Yeah, I said 1.6, but yeah, that was wrong. 1.5. But most importantly, that go-around, we've got to be so accurate. So we're going to have to make sure we get it straight into nav, fly to these waypoints, and do not accelerate. We must not accelerate until we've flown this turn, headed back up round the valley. So that's so crucial. So we will make sure we don't. Even if we climb up and level off at 9, what's the go and stop altitude? 11,500 feet. Even if we're level at 11.5, we don't want to miss this turn. So crucial. We're better off being a bit lower, but making that turn than we are to be getting it wrong the other way. Right. Stephen said they just landed 2.6. Viz was okay, but wind was tricky. Excellent. All right then. Yeah, it looks like someone on that map was going the other way around. So let's do Arnav 2.6 Zulu, the best one. Madib RTT, which should look reasonable. Oh, what have I done wrong there? Let's get back to our arrivals. I mean, changing runways at Innsbruck is something that would take several pilots quite a while to get through. No, we're not doing the Malibon Bravo anymore, are we? Let's have a look. Well, that does leave me pause for thoughts. I can't see from these arrivals. We'd probably have to go via Rattenberg. Would have to be flight plan, so you probably get vectors there. I'm a bit tempted not to fly over. Let's stop that descent. Let's stop at flight level 200. I don't want to fly straight over the approach at 130. Here we go. Controllers coming through for us now. 11927. Let's find out what we're going to do. Told you guys you'd be watching me struggle through it.
Manta 179, contacting Innsbruck Tower 1201. Wiederhören. 1201, Manta 179, wiederhören.
Innsbruck, good evening. Manta 249, descending flight level 200 towards Osdorf.
Manta 249, hello, identified, descent level 210, information Delta, expect vectors to Rattenberg, localizer DME east approach.
Descend flight level 210, expect vectors to Rattenberg, expecting localize DME east, Manta 249. Right, 210.
Manta 249, turn left heading 085.
Left heading 085, Manta 249. 085, we go to... Right, see, this is not the time to be briefing this. I may ask him for a hold. I may. Right, lock DME, not west.
6 Charlie identified, Squawk 1000, continue present heading, vectors for the localizer DME east approach.
DME east.
Vectors localizer DME east. KLM 66 Charlie. KLM 66 Charlie, Squawk 1000, continue present
Well, we've
heading.
talked about none of this. None of this. Sorry guys for the questions. I'd normally be able to answer a few more, but we've got a lot to set up here. I'm actually going to slow down a bit, which might upset the controller. Let's just do 250. They shouldn't be able to argue about that. Right. Let me have a look.
KLM 66 Charlie, descent level 170. 170, KLM 66 Charlie. And KLM 66 Charlie, speed 250 knots or less. 0 knots or less, KLM 66 Charlie.
I think what we're going to do then, let us get this tuned in properly. So, change that again.
105, Sierra Fox, contact Innsbruck Tower 1201, bye bye.
Is that just going to lock 26?
20 decimal 1,
It's
bye
not
bye.
labelled right. Let's see which one that tunes. Via Romeo Tango Tango. Oh, no. Inserts. Romeo Tango Tango. Then Adwig. There we go. FF. Yep, down we go. Good stuff. Right, so this is using the Oscar Echo Victor lock DME 111.1, which is there. Good, so it has
Manta
tuned.
249, descent level 130.
Send level 130, Manta 249. Oh no. Ah, you're joking. Right, that is the end of X-Plane working for us. I knew it. What has happened there? Okay, right. Right. Stand by. Stand by. We'll get ourselves back up there. No worries. Oh, I can't believe that. I can't believe that. It's been such a long time as well. We've been doing so well. Oh dear. Now, I promise I didn't do that just because I was having to rebrief the approach for the third time. I promise. We will autosave yet, and we will we will be back very shortly. Let me just load up Explain again. Oh, it's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while. So I'm going to load that up. We've got the ToLiss back up. I'm hoping the autosave works. Let me just load up into the right place. I won't. Oh, well, can I respawn onto VATSIM like that? That's an interesting question. I wonder. Anyway, speaking about our approach then. So what are we going to do with this approach? So we're basically going to fly in. We're doing a localized approach. So we're going to want to be in track and FPA as we've done before. So we need to be fully configured as we start down. Oh, actually, maybe not. It does have an associated glide slope. Okay, so it counts. It's going to count as an opposite approach, but I think we're going to be able to use the glide slope. So we will be able to fly it as an ILS, which is great, but it is steep, and we'll just monitor those altitudes as we descend down it. Good stuff. And then this is the one where we're going to have to look for those, those running rabbit leading lights for that little last bit, that visual maneuver. Yeah, Stan, I remember when someone said, has X-Plane ever crashed on a live stream? Okay, let us see what we can get to work. Real world weather, good stuff. Resume, airplane's loaded, engines are running. Auto saved, load. And just like that, what do you know? Now the question is, can I connect to VATSIM? Let's try. I might get in huge trouble for this. Oh no, 11927. Oh, I'm on the wrong frequency. That's going to be the problem. Let's see how much trouble we get in. Oh my goodness, I'm scared now. I feel a bit bad doing this. We might get in a lot of trouble here.
Easy 227 Michael, identified, turn left heading 080 vectors for localized DV east approach, descent flight level 180.
Oh, that could be traffic near us. I'm going to have to apologise a lot here. Control from Manta 249, apologies, we had some simulator trouble. We are descending flight level 130 to Osdov.
No worries, welcome back, turn left heading 090 and descent level 190.
Thank you very much. Left heading 090, descend level 190. Manta 249. There we go, heading 090, 190. We are back in the game. Right, so let's get this arrival sorted out. Lock 26 via Rattenberg. Insert. Oh, look at all this missing. How do we do it, eh? Right, approach. He said locked it me east. The weather looks nicer though, so maybe it's all worth it. So we got the routing, Adwig, FF, and down we come. We've got the tuning, Oscar Echo Victor 111.1. It does have a glide slope associated, so we can use that. But we're going to monitor these altitude checks as we follow down the DME all the way down to 5,100 feet. So that is the flight plan. RadNav is tuned. Progress page. Let's have Lowy 26. Squawk 4067, Manta 249. 4067. There we go. Right, there we go. Perf. What's loaded in here? That's the correct weather. Good stuff. Flat 4 for landing, and we got new minima now. Misapproach climb gradient. Let's hope we can do 5%. 3,300. You would actually know you'd have very specific charts. So yeah, not bad minima. Sealing required. So it's saying sealing required because in normal sort of, or some approaches, you don't actually need to worry about the sealing. You can just think about the visibility. But here we need the sealing to be above 1,406 feet above the airport, which at the moment it is, but only just. Anyway, we're going to descend down, and then we have our little visual maneuvering, which has its own chart, I believe. There we go. Come down the Oscar Victor.
Climbing out 160.
And then this is where you find those little rabbit lights, blocks of flats, in and land. We are going to be flying the 11-1. Visual after 11-1, having established visual references between 63 OEV, 44 OEJ, and the missed approach point. The flight shall be continued with visual reference either straight into 26 or in the right-hand circuit to 08. There we go. Right. Again, I'm going to have missed everything in chat, so I do apologise. Daniel Lawrence says, can you do it in Nav FPA? Well, you can't fly a localizer in Nav mode, so you could do it in lock FPA if you wanted to do that, but we're just going to fly it as an RNS and then monitor those. Assuming that the glide slope is modelled in X-plane, I hope it is. Because it does say glide slope or lock descent angle 3.77, so it is steep. So we'll be flap 3 as we start down. Sorry, flap 2 at least, but probably flap 2 gear down when we start down that glide slope. Platform is 9,500, so slightly lower than the other one. Very high MSAs all around, obviously. And what else do we need to do here? Looks like the Pappies as well. Let's see. The Pappies may not be aligned with that steep approach, so we may need to transition to a slightly shallower approach once we are visual. Go around is this really tricky one, as we said, so we're going to make sure we pull the speed to make sure it doesn't accelerate on us as we fly around those turns with these strict speed limits. 155, 25 degrees of bank. Yeah, very strict. Right, so Ramen DB. Left heading 085, descend flight level 120, Manta 249. 085, 120. I'm just going to get down, thrust idle open descent. What am I talking about? What am I talking about? The go around is completely different to what I'm saying. That was the RMP. The go around for this one is slightly different. We've got to break off and make a really tight left turn, 25 degrees of bank below 155 knots, back out towards the rum. So climb on that course, maximum gradient to 1 OEV, then make a left turn, tight left turn, 060 to the rum locator, rejoin the localizer outbound and continue to climb 075. Now I expect that is tuned, but let's see. Nope, doesn't have any of that tuned in here. So let's tune the rum. NDB 320. So we can get ourselves onto that. And what I'm going to do is, because that's a track, so if we have to go around, I'm going to do the usual things. So we'll do go around flaps, we'll go through to toga, bring the flaps in a stage, positive climb gear up. Then I'm going to go track FPA and I'm going to pull the speed. Then we're going to get to 1 OEV and I'm going to, using track, wind it left to 060 and get us flying towards that NDB using our NDB needle here. Goodness me, goodness me. Okay, I think we have some sort of a plan forming here. As I said, you would know all of this in real life. You'd have briefed it. You'd have guides from your airline. I'm not using any airline guides here. We're just trying to work our way through the charts, see what we come up with. We need 5,000 meters visibility, which it is. Actually, funnily enough, it's still real world weather, but it looks considerably nicer. I don't know why, but beautiful scenery.
M60 Charlie, turn right heading 230, cleared localizer DIM East approach.
230, cleared localizer DIM East, KLM 66 Charlie.
Manta 249, turn left heading 080, descent 10,000 feet, QNH 1007.
Left heading 080, descend 10,000 feet, QNH 1007, Manta 249. Right, 10,000 feet. Luckily we're visual now. QNH 1007 is set on both sides. There is our PFD, 10,000 blue and armed, and we're heading down. Good stuff, good stuff. Right, we're going to use the localizer at least, so let's put that there. Now, if the glide slope doesn't work for any reason, like it's not modelled, I haven't tried this approach. I tried all the others, annoyingly, but not this one. Then we're going to have to do this track FPA, in which case I need to be getting ready to descend at... Now, I'm really sorry if I'm just rambling, guys, at this point. I apologise, but this wasn't quite how I expected to do this. 19D from the Oscar Echo Victor, which we have tuned. So at 19D, Oscar Echo Victor, that's when we start our descent. So about 19.3, I'm going to pull 3.8 on the flight path angle and start down. And I need to be slow when we do that. That's if the glide slope isn't appearing at all. But we shall find out as we get around the turn. There should be one, but we shall see. Good stuff. Right. As well then, we said earlier, we're going to have that APU up and running. So let's get that going. We're below 25,000 feet, so we can start the APU. Start. And then I'm going to get the APU bleed on. Luckily, we're not going to have any wing ice, as we mentioned earlier. So that is pretty good going. And we're being vectored direct to the Romeo Tango Tango almost, it looks like. Look at that wind. 71 knots here. It would be incredibly turbulent. Incredibly turbulent. If you had 71 knots and you're this close to the mountains, I really don't know if that's... That would be really quite something. Yeah, you would really feel that. Wow. 70 knots. I can't believe that at this altitude. That's not good.
M60 Charlie, I think you shot through localizer. If that is the case, then turn right 270, please.
I'm glad the example was taken. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I do apologise again. This should be we should be much more slick than this. But step by step. Right, we've got the NDB visualised. Not going to use that VOR, so I'll get rid of that. We've got the Oscar Echo Victor. It is tuned and it is reading out, so that's good. And we're going to need our chart. 210 or less, Manta 249. Alright, time to activate that approach phase. And we'll do our approach checklist. So we've done our briefing, sort of. Eco status is checked. We're missing that fact, which is fine. Seatbelts need to come on. The bow ref is set. We've got 3,300. Engine mode selector can stay in norm. We're going to put that APU bleed on. And now that will supply the pressurization as opposed to the engine. So we'll have a bit more engine thrust available to us. And that is the approach checklist done. Joseph says it was incredibly turbulent coming in from the other direction. Yeah, I bet it was. This would be a really interesting. This would be a really interesting thing to do in Microsoft Flight Simulator, just to see how it handles the terrain and turbulence all happening together. I'd be really curious about that.
Manta 249, descent 9,500 feet. Innsbruck approach, good evening. This is Emirates 902. We are about 30 miles north.
Now we're pretty heavy actually, so he wanted us 210 or below.
Should we be with you right now? Emirates 902, not yet, but as you're with me now, that's fine as well. You identified.
Right, let's put up flap 1. Flaps 1 is travelling.
Copy, information Delta, thank you.
Still won't get us below 210.
Manta 249, turn right, heading 160.
Riding 160, Manta 249. 160. I'm going to select speed 210. Outstar. Riding 220, cleared localizer DME East, Manta 249. 220. Now it's sequenced to Madeb still, which is no good at all. So I'm going to sequence it to Adwig. And I'm going to pull again the 220, which is our last heading. I'm going to put out the next stage of flat, flaps to 2, wind the speed back, because we are getting close to our time where we need to descend. And we've lost our indication of that localizer. Now that is slightly concerning. We've got no indications on the PFD. We've activated the approach phase. It's trying to tune the Oscar Echo Victor. So you couldn't really arm it or use it until you could see it. But that's not great. We're expecting to intercept it at Adwig at 21 miles. So we've got 6 miles to go. This is not working out. If this doesn't work, I'll tell him we need to vectors round to do the RNAV. Let's get that speed back now. 160. We're running out of room for that to come alive. 180 or greater until 8, Manta 249. Okay, well, to do that, we're going to need some gear down as we come down the slope. That's all I'll say there. There it is, right, so Oscar Echo Victor is identified. I'm going to run the localizer first. It's just not showing up, is it? It's not showing up. Right, heading 280, Manta 249. Yeah, sorry, the localizer's not showing up in our sim. We may need to take the RNAV approach.
Okay, advise. Call me in 2 minutes if you haven't got it by then. If not, then I have to be back to you.
Copy, Manta 249. It's just not there. Just not there. This is why we've got extra fuel. I can't see this working. Also, 65 knots. That's ridiculous. This would be so rough. People reckon as we get a bit closer. Okay, yeah. Manta 249, sorry. Yeah, the localizer's not working for us. Can we take vectors for the RNAV Zulu, please?
Yep, turn right 330 now.
Right 330, Manta 249. Apologies.
No worries. Easy 320, Mike, turn right, heading
330. We'll keep flap 2, 180 knots for now. We have the fuel, so that's no problem. We've still got 5.3 tons of fuel, so we can take another approach. Very strange. Yeah, there are just some limitations to sims, aren't there? Oh, well. Right. Let's get ready for that. Approach number 4. Via RTT. Insert. We're not going to go via Elman, that's for sure. Okay. Nope, that's not good either. What have I done there? Right, let's try that again.
Easy 32 Sierra Mike, turn right heading 270, cleared localizer east approach.
Good, let's get rid of the LS. Don't need those, right. Let's get rid of that. Let's go and find RP Zulu 26AR. So we have the required navigational equipment for this one. We're going to go Whiskey India 002. Obviously doing an RP, we're going to check that coding very carefully. You would not rebrief like this. You'd go and enter a hold or something like that, unless you may have already planned it. There we go, 03, round the corner, and in we go. So the flight plan looks good. It has that full go around where we need to be very careful with the speed, which I mentioned about 1,000 times at this point. I've got the RAM NDB tuned. I don't see any reason to get rid of that for now. Still landing on 2.6 performance. Changing the minima now, a bit lower. Let's do 2670. Should be fine. But still even lower, which is much nicer. And there's our slightly raised thrust reduction acceleration in the event of a go around. Matteo says it would have shown after Adwig. Okay. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. A bit closer in. No problem.
Sierra Foxtrot, Milano is unfortunately not online. Continue on Unicom on 228. Bye-bye.
It's not something I've seen. I mean, no, I'm not. I didn't realise the X-plane had that sort of limitation on the localizer. But I'm slightly in a untrusting mood at the moment for obvious reasons after what we had happen earlier. Right, so still got medium water brake. Got a plan for the go around. Got a plan for the approach. So what's interesting about this approach? Well, this is steep, 3.5, so not as bad as earlier. We'll have to try and do the speed control the controller gives us to be helpful to them. Got to go around to 11,500 feet via that RNAV, which is all fine. All the way back round, back up the valley. Thank you. Right turn, Rattenberg, cleared RMP Zulu 26. Manta 249. Right, we can do that.
Manta 249, speed is up to you.
Thank you, free speed Manta 249. Nav, RTT. So importantly, we have to start this from the right altitude. So let's just make sure we're at the platform. We are still at the platform 9.5. We're flap 2, which is fine. We can stay like that. And this is all still tuned. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Good stuff. Oh my goodness, there's 600 of you watching me struggle through this. Well, if you are enjoying watching me suffer, then do please hit the like button. It makes a big difference to the channel. But yeah, we're finally on our way. That's 62 knots. It's I can't get over that. You'd be shaking around here. It would be so bad. We've been given free speed, so I'm going to try not to mess up the controller by doing anything too unpredictable. We're expecting to descend from Whiskey India 002, as we can see here. Much nicer weather though. APU is still supplying for them. Let's get those landing lights on now because I'll forget those later. And once we're heading towards India, Whiskey India 002, I'm going to arm the approach. Yeah, so everyone's saying an X-plane that localizer won't come up to 21 miles. Well, I do apologise. It would have worked. But here we go. We talked so much about RNAV. It's quite fun to do an RNAV. Yeah, so doing this in Microsoft Flight Simulator right now. I don't know if anyone here has done it tonight, but if that wind, I wonder if it simulates how rough it would be, because it would be incredible. So let's get over RTT. There we go. Right, I'm going to arm that approach. We get app nav. Final is blue because it's already going to intercept the inbound track now. Final is blue because that is this VDEV scale that's going to come down and meet us and start down. I'm going to get that speed back to 160. We're going to head down into the valley. And it should line us all the way up pretty much as that localizer would have. Does Innsbruck work on Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020? Says Kim. Kim says, I keep failing the approach for the RNAV for some reason. Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't work, to be honest with you. But it is a bit, a bit strange being here now with the no snow on the mountains at all. Victor Tango says, I take we're not at the first attempt to land. We're on, this is the, yeah. Well, we didn't get so far as trying to land earlier. Find the approach speed, 120.1, and thank you for your help, Manta 249. Goodbye. Bye. Very nice controller today, very nice. We've been messing around a lot. A lot. 120.1. Now he wants to find the approach speed, so we can put flap 3 out, no problem doing that here. Coming up to that descent, so final lap speed is going to be 149. F speed's pretty close. I'm just going to wait and then start down and configure from there. I don't know where the traffic is in front of us. Haven't seen anybody. There's the airfield. I don't know what ORBX includes. Does it include all of this stuff here? Is this all part of it? Come on, VDEV. Don't let us down now. Please, please, please come down from above and just work. Mr. Espresso, good to see you. I hope you're doing very well. There it is, final lap. It's steep, of course. So manage speed. Oh no, don't do that. Right, that's ground speed mini. Because that ridiculous wind and it's calm on the ground. So I'm actually going to keep it in selected. Let's put the gear down. We're at flaps 3. Let's go to flaps full. 149. Now, the reason there's ground speed mini is because we're going to lose a lot of headwind. So the airplane's going to lose energy. As that wind disappears, it's going to have to increase the thrust. So even though, look, this is a steep approach, we've got our go around altitude of 9,500 feet, white and armed. It's having to add thrust because we're going to lose that wind speed. It's a great feature, but as you can see, if I do manage speed here, I can't use it. It's too fast. The real ground speed mini won't actually select a speed above the flap extension speed -5, so it'd stop here, and then add in the turbulence. That would be just so uncomfortable. So I'm really not sure this is a practical day for doing it in Innsbruck. But anyway, Innsbruck Tower, Manta 249, RMP Zulu 26. There's traffic in front. Have I got the wrong frequency?
Manta 249 Innsbruck Tower, good evening, wind check 260 degrees, 8 knots, expect circling approach, runway 08, continue.
260, 8 knots, circling for 08, Manta 249. Dear. Area F, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. That's something like this. Oh, goodness me. Goodness me. I'm just going to ask him. And for Manta 249, any chance we can take the tailwind and land on 26 this evening? Roger. Okay, doke.
Emirates 902, report runway inside.
Right. So we should be monitoring this RNAV much more closely than we are. That wind is going to make this really brutal. Really brutal. Right, guys. Well, you're going to watch my first time trying this. So, in the secondary, let's copy the active, and then I'm going to rechange the secondary runway to just simply our runway 08 and insert. Ah, man. Then we're going to go to so this is our primary. Let's get some fixed info in. Let's mark the Innsbruck VOR. Sorry, NDB INN. There it is. Good. We're going to need to level off at 37, so I'm going to put 37 in here to remind me. 37 to circle. We're going to need the Oscar Echo Victor tunes, which it is there, but I need it actually on my VOR display, so I'm going to select VOR1. I'm going to type Oscar Echo Victor. There it is. So now we get the DME to the Oscar Echo Victor. I don't actually want to circle flap full. They didn't tell me I was going to have to circle until this point. So let's just check where we are. Right. So we're going to keep going to 4.2 OEV. That's when we need to break off and go left. So we've got about 6 miles to go. Okie doke. We are visual the whole time. Now, I know the ToLiss is probably going to give us GPWS warnings because it doesn't have the databases set right. So that's not a problem, but just you guys be warned, and we wouldn't ignore those in real life. So what I'm going to do as well is we're going to... This is a bit of an awkward one. Let's wind up that speed. Now, I'm going to be honest, guys. Let's go to flap 3. You wouldn't do this in real life. This would be a go around to go and replan this because that was a bit of a curveball we weren't ready for there. But here we go, for the sake of the stream. Good. So we're going to go out past this NDB. out to 3.5 OEV. So what I can do is put in a ring OEV, and it's at 3.5. So I'm going to put a 3-mile ring around the Oscar Echo Victor. So I can go slightly outside that, but not much. And that's where we need to turn, and we need to find this church, number 1, Visual Q Church. Now I'm not sure that's there because I had a look earlier and I couldn't see it. Also, with that wind, I'm going to be really amazed that that's going to work. Right, if we go around facing that way, we should make a right turn back up out the valley. Mateo says, circle, flaps 3, put down 4 on the way to the church before the final turn. Yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan. So we're going to do 3.7, 3.5. Mateo knows this very well. So Mateo, when do we start our descent on this one? When do we start our descent?
2,500.
There's the radio altimeter coming alive, which makes sense. 255, yep, so it's got about the right extra. Yeah, this is where you need the PM to set up the box indeed. No, I didn't see the church. I was looking around for it. Anyway, let's not miss our DME. So, looking for 4.2 Oscar Echo Victor. This really wasn't what I had planned for this evening.
2,500.
So we'll do 3.7 downwind, and then we'll start our descent as we leave 3.5 here. This will be interesting. I'll be interested to see if this works. Here we come. Soon we're going to level off. Let's go track FPA. We're going to turn onto track of 230. Let's bring up that PFD. Right, 100 feet above. Let's level off. FPA nav. Now we need to get to 4.2 before we make that left turn. About a mile to go. Nav, it's still in. So I'm just going to pull the track now. Now, again, we may get spurious GPWS warnings, which the real airplane wouldn't do, but let's find out. Right, track 230. There we go. Not much of a turn. Actually going to take us just inside this NDB, and then we're going to be looking for this church. But I haven't seen it. I'm not sure it's actually here. I'm not sure it's actually here. Also, it should be in the right-hand seat for this sort of a circling. Anyway, let's ding dong the cabin crew, get them ready. Okay, Mateo has a plan for us. We are going to, at the church, 3.5 DME, right turn, 25 degrees angle of bank. Perfect, perfect. Now, something confusing about this chart is, and like I said, I've never used this chart before, is when do they expect you to make that turn to the right? Before this ridge line, really. Like I don't think it's to scale. But I know we go on top of this ridge. I've seen the videos. People go on top of these ridges. So curious to see here how it works out. Because I think if I follow this visually, I don't think this is the scale. Usually these aren't. Special circling procedures. Yeah. I don't want to get any closer, so let's turn downwind. We're still 3.7. 264. It does look like you're descending rapidly, doesn't it, with that terrain around? Right, I'll go back to manage. No, keep it selected. That's good. Right, let's activate the secondary flight plan. So we have the other runway. Oh no, that's not a good idea. 264. So at 3.5 OEV, we're going to start our right turn. So where is the church?
1,000.
Set at 1.4. Should be, yeah, it should be on the right hand side. Yeah, haven't seen it. Anyway. Could be too tight in here. We shall see. We shall see. I'm not sure. Is that going to work?
32 Sierra Mike, backtrack on the runway and expedite vacating via Bravo.
Backtrack on expediting, vacating via Bravo, EC3 to Sierra Mike.
Barry Garrison, you're very welcome. Thanks for coming along. Let's see if we can pull this one off. Not sure we will. There's going to be so many things we need to set up that we're not going to get around to. Right, anyway, autopilot off. Flight director's off. We got the bird on, and let's ride that track all the way around. Inbound track. Good stuff, right. Okay, 3.5. Let's get that right turn going. Start our descent. Got a bit of a vertical deviation scale coming in there. Let's see if that helps us out. Let's go to flap full. I'm just going to keep that speed selected. I don't want it doing anything too silly for us.
249, wind 260 degrees, 8 knots, runway 08, clear to land.
Good land, 08, Simwings, Manta 249. Oh, can't see my vertical speed. That's way too much. Way too much. Yeah, well, you would get that if you started doing that. Yeah, I don't think this is tight enough. I don't think it's tight enough with that wind pushing us through. So, like I said, this is not something you'd do. And if you get that warning, you'd have to do a full pull-up GPWS in real life. No doubt. Let's keep the descent going. No pappies are showing. I'm not sure why. Yeah, so that was definitely too tight in for that circle. Let's get ourselves over there now. I'm not sure I'm not getting any pappies. Keep the descent going. Oh, keep the descent going. No, that's not worked at all. That has not worked at all. This would be a definite go around from this point. Look at that. Absolutely shocking. Right. Okay. Go around flaps. That's in a stage. Mantogo, let's go around track. Manta 249 going around. Positive climb. Gear up. Okay, guys, I'm really sorry here. I just don't have time to go and do it again. I'm really sorry. What I'm going to have to do is pause that.
249, turn right and downwind runway 08.
Apologies, Manta 249. We're going to have to disconnect. Apologies for that. Right, guys, I am really sorry. I've never had to do this before on a stream, but I simply don't have the time to carry on with that. But yeah, that was obviously no good at all. We're gonna have to come and try this again another day. There's a few factors here. That approach we were not ready for, simply because we started off so with so many different approaches. We've then had that interesting wind. I mean, we couldn't land with an 18 knot tailwind anyway. That's never going to work out. Plus we were too tight in there, as I'm learning now. So it's really interesting one. But yeah, so definitely needed to be further out over this ridge for the turn. I still haven't seen that church over there. Yeah, that turn took us right too close to this hill. I mean, those terrain warnings, I know I said the ToLiss doesn't have them modeled properly, but I would imagine you would get a terrain warning if you did that. I mean, we started our descent, but we just weren't wide enough to get in there. So that's what happened there. Like I said, I wasn't set up for that approach at all. And that's why in real life, right at the start of that approach, I said, we can't do it. And it wouldn't happen. So yeah, anyway, you couldn't have landed from an 18 knot tailwind. No Airbus is certified to do that. So it's really odd. I just wish we'd known that approach was going to be in use a little bit earlier. Might have had a bit of a chance to get that nailed. Dandy T1990, thank you very much for your £10 donation. Very kind. For your troubles tonight, still entertaining and educational. Thank you for the stream. No, thank you very much, Dandy. That's really kind of you. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. But yeah, that is just a perfect storm. And I should have called it earlier. I should have said when they wouldn't let us continue that RMP, I should have just disconnected there and landed, because I could see the weather was no good to do what we just tried anyway. The headwind's too strong on the westerly side along with everything else. But I'm going to practice this, and then we'll have to come and do this again, obviously. Shelley Crater, thank you very much for Canadian $5 donation. Fascinating, complex approach. Look forward to trying again. Thanks, Shelley. Yeah, no, we will do this again. We'll get this one sorted. Like I say, I don't do this approach, and I've never done this circle here either. So it's entirely new to me. But anyway, there we go. That's what happened. Well done to everyone else who made it in. Very good. So the people who flew along did make it. But yeah, thank you, Shelley. Thank you, Dandy. You're very kind. You're very generous considering that for an approach. Bacon Warrior, thank you very much for your £5 donation as well. Thank you. Don't worry, Boss Killer Coffee. That's very kind of you. And I'm glad, Ian C, I'm glad you enjoyed it as well. But yeah, so that is going to be a complete anticlimax end to the stream. I do apologise, but I'm going to have to go and get some dinner, and then we'll take a better bite at this approach. I shouldn't have agreed to it. I should have set myself up better for that. So I do apologise to you guys, but thank you very much for coming along. I hope you've enjoyed what we did do, and we will master this. We're going to do it again. Next time we won't do it on that sim. We're just going to come in and I'm going to set us up on that approach, and we'll do the circle properly, because that's what you guys deserve. Eric, thank you very much for your $50 donation. Really appreciate it. Right, guys, here we go then. Thank you all for coming along. I'm really sorry. That is a real disappointing end to the stream, but we'll try again another day. Thank you, HC, for your donation as well. $5 donation. You guys are all far too kind considering the circumstances. Thank you again then to Dandy, Shelley, Bacon Warrior, Eric, and HC. Right, guys, you have a good evening. I won't spoil the ending. We will make sure you get your outro rock music. And I'm going to run the replay just for my own amusement while that plays. We'll see you again on another stream very soon. Thank you very much, guys, and you have a good evening. Thank you all for coming along, and bye-bye.